there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
I'm moving too far. Get to glance. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get to glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you want. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, people? Welcome back to Tottenham Away. It's Monday night. It's the podcast special. Thanks for being with us. The best place to be on a Monday if you're a Spurs fan. If you're not a Spurs fan, you're always welcome as well. What can we say? 4 big games in a row, 4 defeats in a row. The performances have been nothing short of embarrassing, shocking, unacceptable, whatever words you want to use. Most of us predicted we'd lose at Anfield. I don't think we thought we'd be 4-0 down. Maybe we did. I can't remember what our predictions were, but none of us predicted a win there. So we were not really surprised. But I think the question is this football any better than Conte? Hence the title. Ange ball equals Conte ball. What's the difference? We'll get into it. We'll discuss it. We'll break down the game. But I do want to say this before we start, guys. Anyone who watched our post-match show yesterday, I do want to apologise if the show got a little bit not angry, but
heated.
Fans all, heated. Cheers for that, Iggy. Getting heated and tempers flaring. But look, just from my personal perspective, I've got nothing against anyone that comes on the show. That's why I let everyone on the show. But I'm not going to just accept personal digs and personal attacks without hitting back. I just can't do that. So if you did watch the show yesterday, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go watch it and then you'll understand. But other than that, Iggy, how you been? Yeah, you went on the show yesterday. I'm sure you're just celebrating Greek Easter with Sophie and the family. I wish I didn't do the show. I wish I just carried on celebrating Greek Easter because there's no positives. There's no positives.
I said after the Chelsea, I would not waste a good day that always is Greek Easter, and I wasn't going to waste it on watching Spurs. I knew that by watching Spurs, I'd be completely and utterly ruining it. So I chose not to watch, certainly not to watch the game live. I did manage to catch up with it today and ruin my bank holiday Monday for it. But I thought, you know what, if I'm going to come on the show, I need to have watched the game. And yeah, listen, what can I take away from that game that I saw today? No different to what I felt against Arsenal, no different to what I felt against Chelsea, and no different when I was with you guys at Newcastle. I always felt, and I keep saying it, team checked out on the day that I saw them against Newcastle, and nothing's changed for me in that sense. I think the season's pretty done. I was hoping to come on to be talking about the Euros and discussing about the summer football or the Copa America, and I can't wait till those conversations come alive, because this one here right now, I'll tell you, I don't know how you feel. I don't even know how you did. I don't even know how you did last night, 7-hour stream. So those who do want to watch that show last night, be prepared. If you've got 7 hours to watch it, go ahead. But what can I say still? Honestly, I don't know what more I could say, but I'll try tonight. I will try and make some sense of what's going on with Spurs.
Yeah, I think.
By the way, it's good. Always a pleasure being with you guys, always, and obviously everyone in the chat joining us. I can see the numbers of people joining us. With the minutes that we speak are getting higher and higher. So credit to them, man, because they want to hear us talk about Spurs, and I'm like, it's a freaking struggle, man.
I think they want a place to talk as well. I think the comment section and a lot of the conversations the last couple of weeks, I think fans are. It feels like every manager before it's happening again.
Coming here is a bit. Do you know what? It's like a therapy coming here. We should call these Monday night shows Monday night therapies, because this is what it's becoming. Monday night therapy. This for me. Coming on here talking about Spurs, knowing it's bad, but at least at the end of our shows on a Monday night, I always go away a little bit more better than I did coming on the stream, if that makes sense.
I think therapy is too calm for the situation. I think we should just call Mondays the asylum. Welcome to the asylum.
Do you know what, guys? In the chat, it's just a little bit, just something to lighten it up a little bit. Give us the names of what you feel that we should name the Monday night shows. No, just for the next few ones, or the next one at least. All right. And the best one, I swear, the best one will do it. Do you know what? I want to see how creative people can be in the chat. I want to see it. So, guys, just for a little bit of fun, what should we name our next Monday night show? And if the best one that we like, we promise you we'll call it next week. Unless we win, then obviously I don't know what to say. If we win our next game, then then kind of like
look at the names already. Monday Night Massacre, Monday Mayhem, Monster Stream, The Release.
I'll tell you what it should be already.
Brilliant.
I'll tell you what it should be already. It's happened again.
Monday Night Raw, I like it, Ed. Monday Night Raw with WWE, I like Monday Night Raw. Yes. It could be Mondays. What about wait, after last night, we should call this one Monday Night SmackDown. Monday Night Raw, WWE, you get Raw and you get SmackDown. This one should be called SmackDown. So it kind of ties in what happened yesterday at Anfield. SmackDown.
I'm gonna go. Do you know what? I'm gonna go with Alcatraz. I'll go with Alcatraz.
Mate,
an island you can't get off, trapped.
With Spurs, you know what? Any of these names could be applicable at any given time. So we will definitely take note of all these ones, and you never know when we can still versus Adrian once in a lifetime.
I'll get into the comments in just a second. JP,
Brilliant stuff.
David, you been all right?
Yeah, man, not too bad. It's it's happened again, and get battered everywhere we go. And
Oh, well,
I
that's a nice title
decided,
there.
you know what? As much as I hate it, I'm gonna go to IKEA, and that was I didn't even watch the game. Ended up in
Wow.
IKEA.
Well, thanks for coming on, JP. See you next week, mate.
See you later, mate.
Inside,
With
I know
15 covers in the
exactly.
wardrobe.
I know exactly what to say. It was the same as the game before, and the game before that, and the game before that, right? So simples. But yeah, no, there was no signal in IKEA. Came out about 5-ish, 5:15. Got in the car. 3-0.
Just get meatballs, though.
I had a bit of history on the way home.
Listen, we was in a garden doing the barbecue, getting the chicken, the lamb, and ready. And I knew what the score was because I could hear my son shouting every time Liverpool scored. So when I heard him, I thought, nah, he's taking a mick. He's already cheered 3 times in the last half hour. And I thought, it can't be 3-0 short. And then I heard him say, I go,
You
oh
should
my
know
God.
better than that.
Oh my God. When it was like on the 4th, I thought, this is not digging in the charcoal even more. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I hope he didn't burn his food.
He goes, I can't believe it. He goes, he goes, I know the Spurs were bad because obviously this Liverpool, he goes, he didn't quite know what he was going to get. And I thought, even then, he goes, 4-0 light work. He was at that time it was 4-0, and he was like, this has been light work up to now. And I could say that for Thursday against the Chelsea, the previous, everything's been, every time someone meets Spurs, I've heard the same thing from opposing fan. Tonight was light work. Chelsea fans, that was light work. Newcastle, wow, this is it. And they're all the people like Liverpool, probably in a really bad run of form. Chelsea, and Newcastle were depleted. Everyone's all messed up. They come to play Tottenham, and they all of a sudden have revived.
It's a normal thing, right? Surgery's open again.
Tottenham, yeah, Dr. Tottenham.
Surgery's open.
Surgery's
back open.
How's Lee been?
We cure.
I've seen Lee in a while.
Did very well. Weekend was good. Boys were back playing. Got 2-0 one Sunday morning, so everyone was happy. Then got home and actually had to really push myself to actually try and watch the game on Sunday, knowing what was going to happen. But I ended up doing it anyway, and wasn't disappointed. It came out exactly as I thought it would. So great all around, I suppose. Fantastic. I did see some positives though in that game. I must admit, I did see some positives. I know everyone's seen a lot of negatives out of it, but
Well, that's what Postecoglou said.
Yeah. No, well, it's ironic that he's saying that because the positives were that they weren't playing the way that he wanted them to play, and things were happening. So don't wish for that too much, Ange, because it's not going the way you expect.
I'm just quickly say that to everyone in the comments, then we'll get into the game. We'll get into our views and everything as well. Big up to BT, welcome to the show. Tony Rodriguez, we've got Mapping, Anthony, Eugene, welcome. Amit, hope you're doing well.
Big up, guys.
William, Swifty, how you doing, my man? We've got Robert in the building, Tom, Ramos, who actually came on the show yesterday. He was in defensive leave. He came on. We're going to do a show with Ramos at some point this week. Colombo, big up to you. Rob Frank is in the house. Sammy, how you doing, my man? Hope you're good. Hope the kids are well. Jamie Git, Tommy G. We've got Totspur, hope you're doing well. Chris Agomba from day one, still with us. Bertie Hotspur, big up to you. Sergi, hope you're doing good. Danny, Stel, send the link once I finish. Okay, no worries. I'll send it to you, my man. Actually, can someone send the link to Danny? They've got his number.
Is he still on English number?
Yeah, English number, yeah. Graham, how you doing? Graham, I did try and call you back. I'll try and call you tomorrow if you're free. Wayne, hope you're good. Jason's in the house. Good up to you. Eltel Cockerell, big up. Huddersfield Town FC. Hello. Lee's Music, big up to you. Always Jackin, Rowley, Mark Cousins, big up. Wayne Holland, he enjoyed himself last night. The Extremer, how are you? Ryan Mac, big up to you. William, how are you doing? A super chat from William Leone. Thank you for the super chat. Did you get any sleep last night, Stel? I got sleep this morning. not last night. Thanks for the super chat, my man. Tommy G's in the building. Brian Daigle, thank you for jumping on last night. I think I needed that actually. Big up to you for that. Daigle's in the house.
That's all the
who else we got
Scotland
here?
Yard.
Big up the Scotland Yard. Fenland, hope you're good. Brian Maguire, big up to you. Henry's in the house. Wayne's in the house. Ryan Isaacs, how you doing? I think that's Ray the Yid. Big up, big up, big up. Sue Smith, big up to you as well. Flash Errol, hope you're well. Spurs 72, Conrad, Bill. I think that's almost everyone. Rowley Birkin, JPH 71. Cold Shot, hope you're well. Ed M. Richard in the house. Dazzy. Teslim. Yep, I got your email. I haven't had a chance to reply to you. I will reply to you, Teslim. Just bear with me because I'm just busy. That's all. Well, I do reply to everyone eventually. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Bill Badder, big up Badder. Hope you're doing well. Robert's in the house. Frankfurt Guna. Sarah. Dazza. Gerard. Blimey, how many we got here? Lee Moody. Do you know what? I think we're going to have to stop doing this each week because it's just too many. But we'll do it. I'll do it because I started.
Big up to
Manuel.
everyone.
Yeah, Ron. Big up to everyone. Guys, if I haven't called your name out, sorry, guys. I'm just going. There's so many of you. Big up to every single person in the chat. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you all.
Much love.
Much love, much respect.
Big up,
Yeah,
big
so
up,
look,
big up to everyone.
we lost 4-0. Wasn't the best of games. We ended strong, but you could probably say that each time. But look, before we get into the game itself, I wanted to ask you something, right? On Sky Sports, they showed this. After 35 games, Ange is outdoing Postecoglou and Arteta in their first 35 games in the league. So what they're trying to say is here, calm down, everyone. Ange is doing a great job. He's outdoing these two. And Klopp won a league title. Arteta's in the top of the table at the moment in the title race. You know, this is part of the process. But this is where it gets a bit disingenuous. And it's almost like when Alistair Gold put up those stats of Timo Werner. Look at his dribbling and crossing and all these metrics. They don't show you the other picture. So where Alistair Gold ignored to show shooting accuracy, goal scores, big chances missed, all that stuff. He just ignores that because it was bad. Why don't Sky Sports prove that points per game or points per minute, I can't remember the exact stat, Conte and Jose have outdone Ange? Because this only shows you the Premier League. What about the cup games? Because Conte and Mourinho, they played cup games and they played Europe. And if you add that up as well, they've done better. They had more games to deal with. And overall, they did better. When you look at things like defending, well, Conte and Mourinho did better. So it's almost like, let's just show the one stat that makes Ange look really, really good, but then ignore the stats that actually make him look really, really bad. And it's almost a disingenuous picture. It's not balanced. What do you make of it? Because, look, the truth is, in Klopp's first season, it was shaky. I think they finished 8th or 7th. Arteta's first season was shaky, but you could argue that by the end of Klopp's first season, you can begin to see a style coming through. Even Poch right now at Chelsea, you're beginning to see Chelsea cook a little bit. You're beginning to see something progressing at Chelsea going into next season. I think they're the most informed team in the league, or one of the most informed teams in the league right now. And even with Arteta in his first season, he won the FA Cup. He lifted silverware. Is this fair, guys? Is this a true balance? Or is this a little bit, hold on a minute, you're brainwashing fans here, or you're not quite being honest about it? What's your take on it? Because I'm not so sure that's a fair reflection, personally speaking.
For me personally, it's so weird with Sky Sports because they're normally the ones that bring on the pylon for Spurs, and they use every little.
Yeah, but they are in a way, Iggy.
Yeah, they do bring the pylon, and then they come out with this stat, and I don't know what they're trying to serve with that stat, what kind of purpose they're trying to bring into it. I don't know. I don't know. I just find the Sky Sports a bit disingenuous as well when it comes to things like that. So, man, we got some serious work to do. I mean, like I said, I'm more than willing to let Ange have another season at it for sure. I would. No, that's not to say I'm anywhere near saying Ange out. I'm far from it. But I feel compared to Arsenal and Liverpool, I feel like we've got so much more work to do. I don't know how you feel about it, not just from a personal, but also from like outside of the players and the technical abilities and all of that. I just feel like we've got so much work to do as a whole environment to try and get the mindset thing. Because do you know what I find that when it's like, Arsenal brought in Arteta and with Klopp, you see that the fans and the board, they lay out the groundwork of what it is that they wish to achieve in the next 5 years. That, we call it the project now, or whatever else you want to call it. With Spurs, we do get the change of managers and stuff like that, but then it's just like, what is the plan for the next 4 or 5 years for the football team? What is it that we're setting out to achieve for the next 4 or 5 years under this manager? Assuming that this manager goes on for the next 4 or 5 years, what is it that we wish to achieve in that time? What are we hoping to achieve at the end of year 1, year 2, year 3, and so forth?
Can I ask you something?
That's the part that it's never clear for me at Spurs. It never is, and it still isn't now.
Yeah, listen. Let me put a different spin on it. Right, there's no doubt by those looking at the figures, the expectation of Ange in his first year in the Premier League, in a higher league than he's usually been. I think we can all agree he's done well. I can't. We're sitting in fifth. I think he's done well for the where he's come from and who he is. He's not a Conte and he's not a Mourinho. He's not that type of manager. He's not come from big clubs or big leagues or expected to win, right? So for me, he's done well in his first season so far. But I think there's two things that are quite apparent now. Is that we saw what we thought was little sort of stardust being spread over it at the beginning of the season, where we could see something, right? And that gave us all hope that actually maybe there is something here. I'm still a big believer that the first 10 games of the season completely tarnished us as a team because the expectations went up. And I think probably one of those games was actually was called a good game, or we weren't lucky to win it. But we're almost seeing the opposite of what Stel described with Klopp and Arteta, is that because the expectation's gone up, now we're seeing it fall apart in such a way that we think it's going backwards. And now we're getting, I'm now seeing posts about apparently James Maddison's not happy at Tottenham, right? Dragason's not happy at Tottenham because he doesn't get to start. I mean,
Lee, it's this.
Yeah, no, I know exactly. I saw that and I get it.
It's a cycle.
But let me ask you a question: If we were in the same position now, but I believe it's the manner in the way that which we're losing is why everyone's losing their head, right? If we had lost the last 4 games and it was a 1-0 defeat to Arsenal, if it was a 2-1 defeat to Liverpool, and some of the other games, were close games and we weren't getting pumped, we weren't letting in 3 or 4, 5 goals, do you think the atmosphere and the demeanour of fans would be different right now? Because I think that's what's playing into it. I think the way that we're losing and the way we're losing matches is part of why we've got to this point now where there's a lot of divide between fans. There's a lot of people calling X, Y, and Z out. I mean, I'm still not calling Ange out. It's his first year. New managers of the Premier League. Quite happy to give him till next year. I'm still on the fence about whether his tactics will work even with good players, but I'm quite willing to let that go and let him see what happens in the summer. Although we know what we all say about the summer and what we're going to say with Even. But do you think if the games had been closer, if we'd been in the games but we'd still lost and we were at this point right now, do you think the outcry would be as big as it is right now? Because I don't think it would be. I think it's because we're seeing these players not jogging back and defending, and the fact we're letting in 3 or 4 goals. I think that it's making it a bigger issue than it actually is. I mean, at the end of the day, we're still fifth in the first year of new managers to the Premier League, so it ain't that bad.
If you look at it as a statement, as blatantly as it says, here's a description and here's the points, fine, that's absolutely fine. But looking at the bigger picture, you could go, Arsenal did win an FA Cup, right? In terms of that, which bought him time and kept him going. In terms of Liverpool have a history of winning things. They have that pedigree, and you know that if they were to get the manager right, and they would have trusted Klopp in the first year, in the second year, they would have been there to give Klopp the money for the players that he wanted to be able to start that journey. That's the biggest question mark that we can all come back to, is that let's wait for the summer again. Let's wait for the summer again. Potentially, you could say, I don't know when Klopp first started, if he had already a couple of windows. The same with Arteta. I think with Arteta, the fact that he got a cup straight away allowed him a little bit of leeway to carry on, right? Do we all give him the time? I think, in fairness, looking at what we've all said before, we would back Ange and we would back any manager that's there right now. But we know that that manager also needs the backing. Going forward, I would say, well, I'm certainly behind Ange, and let's see where he goes. However, we are still allowed to question the way the progression's happening, right? You can see as it stands now,
I'm not questioning that, JP. I'm not questioning. I'm fully on board the fact that I still think he's a stubborn git.
No,
and it showed yesterday that if you change things on the pitch, it can work better. But I'm just saying, if the results hadn't been as bad as they have been, and it was just 1-0 defeats or something like, do you think the uproar right now would be as bad as it is?
Well, it could also be the same as if we didn't win those first 10 games, and if we lost 2 games, won a game, lost 3 games, won a game, we'd still be in the same position, but the perception would be different. Is kind of what you're saying in a way, right?
Yes.
As opposed to us winning those first 10 games up front and then losing the last 10 games potentially, right?
And this is what I'm coming to. This is the problem.
The way we're losing those games, which is more of a, I guess, impactful to us as fans, but also for us to be able to question the fact that we can see little tweaks or simple things that can be made to adjust that, to stop it happening. However, his persistence in the way he wants to play football, and do you know what? Fair enough. He's the manager. He can go away and do that, right? We can still question it. But when you, as you said, when you see little changes that the team, it almost felt like we said earlier, if the team felt that they can go and do it themselves, oh, do you know what? I'm not playing this. I'm going to play a long ball over the top. And hey, guess what? That worked out into a goal. If those little tweaks are made, potentially what's been happening in those first 10 games could have potentially carried on, right? But he has a persistence and his stubbornness to say, nope, I want to play this way. I'm going to go all out attack, even though I don't have the players. But he has had 2 windows. So there are lots of things to also question him about at the same time. However, as we've all said,
you know what? It worries me. It really worries me, JP, that does. And I know we keep going on about this, but having to, you know, and Stella know this, yesterday morning, we turn up at a match. We don't know the teams half the time that we're playing. Some we do play, we shuffle around a lot, so we get new teams in. And it's, you know, after 5 or 10 minutes, you know how the other team plays, and you have to make adjustments. You have to make, if your way you're playing is, and I have to do that every week. You have to make adjustments. And I think that's the stubbornness, and that I think that's what's winding players up and fans up more than often, because we can see it.
Lee, so you're talking about the performance, okay? This is where I'm at with it. At the start of the season, fans said, "Oh, forget 7th, 8th. we've got now Harry Kane. It's kind of where we think we'll finish. And I kind of agreed. I think I said something similar. I think I might have even said worse. I think I said maybe 10th or 11th.
I said
the issue
7th,
is,
I think you said a bit lower down.
Okay. So the issue is this. Expectations change as the season progresses. If I went back to July and I asked everyone, right, guys, we're only playing one game a week and all the other top 10s teams, except for Chelsea, have to play in Europe and midweek. So just us and Chelsea are going to play one game a week. Plus, I'm letting you know in advance, Man United are going to be a disgrace. Chelsea are really going to struggle. Brighton and Newcastle are going to have injury crises. Plus, they're not going to be able to balance Europe and Premier League, and it's going to cost them. Where do you think we'll finish now? I bet you would say higher up the table. So as the season goes on and you see how it pans out, you are then going to change your expectations. And then you go into January, and we're the only team to do business. 3 players we signed, the rest didn't sign anyone. Surely your expectation is top 4. Surely you're thinking we can do much better than what I thought. And the analogy I gave on Dan's show earlier was, if you said to me, my expectation is I'm going to buy a Ford Escort at the end of this year, or whatever the latest Ford car is, I don't know what they are. I'm just showing my age here. I'm going to buy a brand new Ford car. I'm going to go buy a car, £15,000. That's my expectations. I've been saving up, and by Christmas, by the end of May, I'm going to go buy that car. But then, as the year goes on, you win the lottery. You're not buying a Ford anymore. You're looking at a Mercedes, a Porsche, a Ferrari. Your expectations change because circumstances change. So I think for me, what happened is, Lee, our expectations changed because the opposition weren't as good, because one game a week was actually working for us, because we did business in January when the others couldn't. And then we completely imploded. We've got our full team back. So now you're asking yourself as a fan, how has this happened? Why are we imploding? Everything was going our way. And there's only 2 reasons when you look at it. The transfer window, the summer and January, actually wasn't as good as everyone made it out to be in hindsight. Hindsight's a beautiful thing. And 2, the manager refuses to change it. And we've been sussed out. And the smart managers, the smart teams, they know what to do with us. And that's the worrying thing for me. That is the sign that when opportunity comes, when moments present themselves to us, we still can't take advantage. So I think for me, that's where I'm at with it. So, but if I get to a stage where I'm Ange out, if I get to that stage, I want Levy gone, I want Donna Cullen gone, Paratici, because they employed him. This is their plan with him. They're all implicit. No one gets away with it. And they've got to go as well, because
Ange is getting a lot of
accountability
now, right?
Well, JP, Ange is getting a lot of grace from fans right now. A lot. Where was that grace for Conte, who's a proven winner at the highest level, who got us top 4 with a much worse team? Because for me, Ange Postecoglou has got a better team than what Klopp did in his first season, than what Arteta had in his first season. I'm just saying. Mourinho got us to a cup final. So they never got grace. Fans wanted them out. Why are we treating this differently now? And that's the bit where I'm getting a little bit.
In fairness, not in their first year, right? Not in their first year.
Do you know what?
Even though they started, Conte started partway through the year, right?
But the difference is, the difference is though, is that we saw improvement. So when Jose came in, we saw an initial improvement on where we were.
Okay. And when Ange came in, those first 10 games, did you not see improvement?
But the other managers improved for more than 10 games. So Conte in his first, I think he joined mid.
I don't think he had.
Just after
he didn't have much more than 10 games when he came in at the end of the season, did he?
Who? Mourinho? No, I mean, wasn't Poch was sacked under after 3 months, wasn't it?
Oh, we're talking about Conte, right?
Yeah, but even Conte, when he came in, he got us fourth, right? We went on a blistering
run. It was about 10 games, right?
Yeah, and then even possibly JP, right? And
I think that's my point. In his first 10 games,
JP, Conte was more than 10 games. Conte, 1 minute. Sorry, JP. Conte came in November.
Yeah, then he got Kulusevski and Bentancur, didn't he?
Yeah, Conte was here for 6-7 months
in the January window, right?
Yeah, so he had a quite sustained period of playing good football and improving the team and the mentality of the team. And then even in his following season, when things didn't go well, we were still picking up points, and he left with us fourth with 13 games to go. Had he stayed for those 13 games,
We would have made
I guarantee
top
you,
four. We would have made top four.
yeah, but he would have got a hell of a lot more points if he was in charge than Mason and Stellini, wasn't it? I think I'm where Stell is, in the sense that I wasn't expecting Ange to hit the ground running like he did, make the changes as quick as he did. But I also wanted to see key improvements in how we played our football effectively. You know, the amount of goals we scoring, the type of goals we were scoring, the type of football we were playing, resilience. That, you know, the downfalls we saw near the end of Conte's reign. I wanted those things addressed, but what kind of happened is he had a blistering start, and then it gradually has become a disaster. And you know, we're leaving at the end of his first season thinking we're actually worse than where Conte sort of left us in respect. And I think that's where I think a lot of the people have the problem. I think that where the club is in such a position now, and us as fans are in such a position whereby we've got no choice but to back Ange, which I think is the right thing to do. We have to keep him. I do think that's the right thing to do, despite my negative feelings towards what's happening in him at the moment. I do think it's the right thing to do to keep faith with Ange. And we just have to pray to the Tottenham gods and the board that they back him properly.
Do you know, Maz? You know where I'm at with it?
Sorry, Maz. Just out of interest. So, why would you think that we are, or why would you say, or what's your thoughts on the fact that you think we're worse now than when Conte left?
Because we were fourth.
Because that's the part. Right.
Is it just that one position? Whereas
we were fourth, but I wasn't seeing the same type of naivety from Conte's team as what I am seeing with Ange's team. A lot of the way that we were losing under Conte was literally because of Davies, Dyer, Sanchez making ridiculous individual errors. If you remember that season, we were just besides ourselves in terms of how many individual errors each one of those players was giving and doing an injustice to Conte. And we came to the conclusion very quickly that he just didn't have the players, and good quality players. It wasn't so much his tactics, it was the players letting him down drastically in that second season.
And in terms of the
for
players,
me, there was light at the end of the tunnel with Conte. I wanted him to to stay, for him to get backed, for him to go into that summer and really clear out that dead wood and bring in his players. Had we have done that, then it would have been brilliant.
I totally don't disagree with you, Maz. But I guess what I'm getting at is we understood that we had that crap back four at that point in time. Right now, I would say our back four is, even though we're probably letting in the same amount of goals, but you could call it tactical in a way. But the back four that we've got now would be better than that we had with Conte, right?
Yes.
And our keeper. And our goalkeeper.
And our goalkeeper. So potentially one place lower, but we've got a better back four. We've probably got a bit more
back four.
We've probably got
it's the back two and the front five, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit unfair though, because Conte left with 13 games to go. We've got no idea how many points he would have accumulated in those 13 games had he stayed. We've just got no idea. So
no, I know, but I guess what I'm saying, apart from Ange, I think it appears that we've got a better team. It's just the manager's tactics that I don't think are working out.
But it's more than that, because Conte was he's a world-class elite manager. He didn't need to prove anything to the Tottenham fans, right? All he needed to prove was I can win if you give me the tools. Right? That was his job.
But
I don't think
isn't that where
Alright,
Ange
but
is
he's
at, though,
gone now,
guys?
right?
Isn't
He's
that where
gone.
Ange is at?
Ange, I don't think he's proven.
My
not
fear,
in the same degree, anyway.
My theory is this. Okay?
Iggy. Sorry, before you speak on this, I just want to say one thing before you say, but isn't this where Ange is at? I remember, and then I'll let you speak. I remember when Ange started with us, the first 10 games, I remember so many fans saying, look at Basuma. Why the hell did Conte drop him? You see what happens when you get a proper coach, a quality coach that coaches the players. Look at Basuma. Well, if we're going to praise Ange and slam Conte for the coaching of Basuma, why are we calling out the coach now for the decline and the complete fall off of Basuma?
And Maddison.
I feel, and Maddison and many others, because let's be honest, Iggy, if this was Conte now, he can't coach Madders. He can't coach Basuma. He's destroyed Bentancur. What's he done to the attackers? I just wanted to add that before you speak on it, because I do feel there's been a lot of injustice being said at times.
You know what? Ironically, though, we was almost doing better when we had the injury crisis than compared to what we have now that we've got everyone back. It's like it's one of them ones where like almost as if the team recognised we had an injury crisis. We'll wait whilst our players come back. But in the meantime, we'll gather together, try and get as many points as possible in the hope that we get this player or that player back. Now we've got everyone. It seems to something in the second half of the season, guys, hasn't clearly worked, and we're not behind the scenes to know as to what it is that don't work. I know Postecoglou has said some of the players, it's almost they're not either they've not bought into the way we want to play. And to be honest with you, the same sort of questions that that we as fans are there as well. We're like, well, is this like you guys have mentioned the words naive and stuff like that. But still, you teach me as well that when Conte comes in, when we hire a manager, we know exactly how that manager wants to play in his style, and he shouldn't have to change or not change or change in his idea and ideology of football just because he doesn't have the players that he necessarily needs. He's like, no, this is the way I play football. This is the way I'm going to go forward. And then as the transfer markets come, he will make the necessary changes to bring the players that require to allow him to play the football that the way he sees it with the players that he sees best fit. Now, it's clear for me that there are shortcomings in the team. The Basuma thing hasn't happened. Maddison dropped off after his injury. And there's other, we can talk about all the forward lines, all the forward lines. So we're playing an attacking way, but not necessarily with animals up front. I mean, we put Son aside, although he can be called in for sure. He's been called out quite a bit recently, but not numerically, Son has still delivered the amount of goals that is expected of him. But from the others, not so much. So we already have a problem there. By playing an attacking way of football, this attacking way of, gung-ho, whatever you want to call it, we don't have the players, necessarily animals, that will get the amount of goals, even though they're so closer to the goal. And in midfield, something clearly hasn't worked. Our back four, they say, well, you can use that and say, well, how comes with the back four that we currently got, when they're all fit, by the way, and the goalkeeper, we're still conceding that many goals? But that's not individual defenders. That's the issue. It's the way we play as a team that we leave them exposed. So for me, we still have much to do in regards of the players that best suit and also best reward Ange Postecoglou's way of playing. I don't feel that the players that we got in the most important positions that Postecoglou requires are the best that he could have to deliver his brand of football. So why, if he truly believes in his brand of football, which Postecoglou comes across, he does the same way Conte did, there's like, you got me to come here to do his job. Now you're asking me to adjust. In the first season, when he's going out, he still sees that there's players in that team that are not necessarily seeing eye to eye with the way Postecoglou wants to play football. So there's an issue right there. So what does he do? Does he insist with them next season, or does he change and bring players that say, you know what, I'm going I don't know, a couple of the Celtic players, to Spurs because they completely get it. So for me, you won't get a true picture of all of it till the second season. In the hope that
I agree, Iggy. But does it
so
not worry you though that some of the
concerns. The thing, I'll tell you what it is, Lee. Sorry. If we'd seen a pattern of the way we want to play, but we were 8th or 9th for the league, and we could see the progress from beginning to this point, I think we'd be a lot calmer about it.
Yeah,
but we're
Which
more
is what
worried
I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah, we're more worried more from the playing point of view. But in the league, we're actually not. Yeah, we've fallen off the wagon. Of course we have. And we always said in January that, I'd expect top 4 now. Top 4 would be a wicked result. But if we return back to Europe, it wouldn't be the worst result. And we're 5th in the league, yeah? So from the league standpoint, we're all right. We're thinking, you know what? We're 5th in the league, guys. What we're freaking moaning about, really? But those conversations don't come. We're not saying that we're worried about where our league standing is right now, because we're probably at the beginning of the season, if someone said to you return back to Europe, you would probably have taken it. But we're probably more worried or concerned, have queries or question marks, more so from the way we're playing right now and how.
I don't agree when you say there's two things. I think we need to get out of this mindset, and I'm guilty of it just as everyone else, right? That where we say, oh, but we're 5th, we should just be happy with that as a snapshot in time.
I said if we'd told at the beginning of the season, we would have taken it. We would have taken 5th, man, because everyone's going, we're finishing 8th or 9th.
Yeah, even that, and
in
I'll
the first
explain
season,
why.
in the first season, season 1.
I'll explain why, because we've got this habit of resetting our expectations every time we get a new manager or every season, right? And we set ourselves a goal. Now, hear me out, Iggy, hear me out, right? And we set ourselves a goal, right? We say, oh, it'll be good if we can finish 5th, or it'll be good if we can finish 4th, or, it'll be good if we can go on a cup run. But the problem with that is that what we're demanding as fans is for the club to move forward beyond where Pochettino got us. That's where we feel aggrieved, don't we? Right? So for us to now say, okay, well, let's go back to pre-Pochettino expectations, sets us back almost 10 years again. So then we need another 10-year project to get back there. And I just think that we need to be careful when we say things like that, because that's almost giving Levy a get out of jail free card. If you get, I'm not attacking you. I'm just stating
No. I completely get what you're saying. My thinking on the basis of what you said, the biggest mistake was not allowing Poch post 2019 to go through that build that he wanted to do, the famous rebuild, whatever it was. We wasted 4 years. We got rid of Poch, and we wasted another 4 years to be exactly in the same position where we should have been doing in 2019. So this 4 or 5 years afterwards, we've wasted it because we've hired and fired and gone into one project to another. Well, if we can call, I use the word project very loosely, because for me, in the last post since Pochettino left, there really hasn't been a project. It's just appeasing fans, signing this, signing that, bringing Conte, almost to try and tame the fans.
We've been plastering over the cracks, Iggy.
But yeah, exactly. And the problem we got right now is that when I went to Luton and I went to Newcastle, that's the only 2 games I've actually been at the stadium all season. We, as fans, I'll tell you that now, and I can say it loud and clear, man. The fans, whatever we set up right now, whatever we do, man, we don't have the patience to just go through a 3-4 year project. We don't have the patience to go through it. Like what this period that we're going through right now, since 2024, mate, it's gone in the sense of like people are ready to, they're ready to cut the manager's head off. We don't have the patience anymore. And I say we, I include myself as well. We don't no longer have the. When you're in a stadium, man, it's a different vibe. Fans don't have that stuff thinking, you know what, I want to give this geezer another year. When their mind is rational, I think maybe. But Ryan, you go to the games, and I'm telling you, man, he must see around himself people losing their freaking minds.
Don't you blame Levy for that though? Because
yes, of course I do, man.
Because the reason I'm blaming him is because about the patience thing is because he's had 24 years and done nothing with it. He's now put the ticket prices up by 6%. He's told the elderly fans, tough shit, there goes your concessions. He's gone after the disabled fans in the premium section.
It's all part of the toxicity, yeah, of course it is.
And to push down on this failure, he's then said, I want more from you, plus I'm taking a £3 million bonus for doing absolutely nothing with the football team. So that's where I think the patience has gone, because we're listening and watching all this and we're thinking, hold on, all you do is take, and you want me to give you 5 more years back? No.
Still, man, listen.
I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? He's just buying himself another 5 years. While you're saying we've wasted 5 years, Iggy, in his mind, he's a clever bugger. I tell you, in his mind, he's just kicked the can down the road, got another 5 years building investment into it.
The fans are directing their anger and their impatience at the wrong people, at the wrong people, man. I know the managers in front of you. I know the players are on a Saturday afternoon. The players are the ones that are in front of you. The manager's the one in front of you. So all your frustration when you're seeing things go to shit, it's because you're just angry at everything, and they're the ones that take it. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, man. Why is it we're doing the same thing over and over again? And that's why I think I heard. Who did I hear? Was it Ramos? I did see a clip of it when he said, when he goes to the stadium, he doesn't feel like there's anything, that there's atmosphere's there. I heard him say that. So, and I'm saying, and I agree with that point. I very much agree with it. I don't feel like. When was the last time? And like I said, out of all of us here, right, probably Ryan goes to more games than anyone I know, right? And I'm thinking, when was the last time you felt that there was something happening at this freaking club, man? That you felt like a vibe, like you felt like this is a team that's going somewhere with a little bit of expenditure, even smart. We're not saying spunk 100, 200, 300, 400 million, but with a little bit of clever planning, we can get the right 2 or 3 players that can really take us to the next step. When was the last time you felt a vibe, man? I haven't felt that in a long time.
CONTE was the last time I felt that vibe. You know, the run to top 4 in his first
The North
season.
London derby, man, that was amazing. Amazing. Yeah. That was it. I was like, man, we should grow from this.
Villa away, Newcastle at home, tonking them 4-0, 5-1. We had it felt like the club was coming back together after Mourinho and obviously the end of the Poch era. But nothing since, I mean, a sustained 2-3 year period, nothing since the Poch days. Nothing. It's been awful. It's been the club's divided, fans wanting Levy out, Levy in. You got the fans wanting Ange out, Ange in. You know, it's just everything's up in the air. There's no cohesion within the fan base. There's no cohesion between the board. Like we said at the start of the season that we pretty much had the fans on side, the management on side, the players were on side. The one thing that needs to be on side is the board, and it hasn't happened yet. We can only, which is why I'm so keen to give Ange all the time in the world. Literally, I'm done blaming managers. I've said it to Stella. I'm done blaming managers after 17. After 15, I was done. But you just got to give Levy that chance now. As many chances as he has had, you have to just give him. I mean, you have to give him this summer to see what he does with Ange, and let's just go with it. Look, as you've been saying, nobody expected us to. No one expected us to be challenging for Champions League up until April. It's been just a season where it's been a proper build. We're trying to get the rebuild from ground level. We are underground trying to rebuild. It has been, especially after losing Harry Kane, we need to just relax, give the manager a bit of breathing space, and just have a look at where we are come the start of the season, come September time after the window shuts. Because
by the way, I totally and utterly agree with what I will say to that is that I don't have a problem with the fans being vexed or I don't have any issue with that, because I think they have every right to be angry. Yeah. I just think that they need to direct it at the right people and not the ones that just newly arrived. Second thing, I will say this in regards to Postecoglou. By the way, I'm not that stupid. To make it clear, I'm not stupid enough to think that if I see a manager's totally and utterly incompetent, I can't say. If I felt like about Ange, which I'm not. Listen, I need to give him another sense to get to that point. And if indeed he even gets to that point, he might be totally competent and prove us all wrong here. And we'll all come on and say no problem, perfectly. But I'm not stupid to think if I see a manager is incompetent to run a football team, But just to make a point about being against Levy, I say, no, keep him here because I'm fed up of saying managers out. No. I will say, if I feel he's incompetent, I'll say, look, Ange's got to go.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what I feel about Levy.
Right now, though,
He's incompetent. But
I don't
this
feel
ain't a fix.
we've seen enough of him to say if he's incompetent.
And that's where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at.
Can you guys say that? Right, you 1 minute. You guys say that. Look at this.
Estelle, can you bring up that comment?
I will.
sorry.
Right. I just want to say we talk about incompetence, but look at this. Ange's points per match is 1.71. Conte's was 1.88, and in Conte's second toxic season, it was 1.75, still above Ange. And we're conceding more goals.
Yeah, he had a 30 goal striker. Look, it's that simple. It's that simple.
I had Eric Dyer, Clement Longley, Ben Davies, and Emerson Royale. Wait. Foster in defence, and the defence was better.
He's not the level of.
He had 5 at the back. He relied on Harry Kane. It's not that difficult to see. If you
listen, continue exactly what he had. He knew exactly what he had. He wanted us to stay compact, and he relied heavily on both Son and Kane to get the goals. He was smart. Conte was smart. I'm not saying Ange's thick. I'm not saying that. They just have two different ways of playing football. He knew. He saw the team for what it was, and thinking, you know what, we're not that great at the back. Let's get them organised and compact. Allow them to get us the point.
Iggy, this is such a weak argument, right? Because what we're saying here is, without Harry Kane, every manager's doomed.
I'm not saying they're doomed.
In terms of the club that we want to be, yes, pretty much. I would go along with that.
Then shut the shop. Shut the shop. Let's call it.
I completely agree. Shut it down then. But we are doomed with the ambition that basically we want to be seen as a big club. We want to act like a big club. It's never going to happen under this regime. It's that simple. We can, unless the fan base.
That's what people should be angry about.
That's
what they should be angry.
That's what I think, Ryan, though. We're all saying wait for the transfer window, like the summer window. My fear is nothing's going to happen, right? It's not going to be drastic. We've got the Euros. We've got everything else that's happening. There's going to be no time unless those buggers are in there now already talking to some of those players and making sure that those deals are virtually done straight away. Because as the Euros start, all these players will be, they're gone off away. We're not going to have that window again, and it's all going to be
more players coming out. More players.
Still, can we bring up that comment because that ties into what we're talking about? So, I think this is a brilliant comment. It says that was the moment for Tottenham to change, to clear the rebels and show the coaches the main guys, not the clans of the players, right? And in Savaroglu, or I can't pronounce his name.
When was this? When was this?
He's referring to Conte, right?
Okay.
Now Tottenham, I think I don't think any of us are at the Ange out stage yet. But for us to progress, they need to do exactly what that chap said. They need to come out, statement, this is our guy, we're going to back him, right? He's not going anywhere. Exactly like Arsenal did to Arteta, like all the other big clubs when they back their guy. That's what Tottenham need to do. And then that will quiet the fan base down and the chat and maybe even unify the fan base, because then we know, look, he's not going anywhere. Right, and then all eyes will be on the board and how they back him, but they won't do that because we know what Levy and the board is like. So I agree with JP. My worry is that we're going to get to the summer. Ange is going to be like, we need to get rid of all the players that I bought in and some and bring in more, and they're going to be like, well, hold on a minute, Ange, we're giving you 200 million, mate, and you want to get rid of half the players now. And you can imagine Levy having that conversation with him. You wanted Kulusevski. Why did I pay 20 million to bring in Kulusevski? You wanted Maddison. Why did I pay 50 million to bring in Maddison?
He didn't bring Kulusevski though, and he brought Maddison.
No, but he did. He signed him under his tenure, right? They made it permanent. Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah. So you can imagine the hierarchy saying to Ange, look, we've backed you already. So why you want to get rid of the front line? You wanted Werner, and now you want to get rid of him, and he's 15 million. That's what they'll say to him.
Well, we haven't signed the geezer, have we? He's on loan, so we can see. We simply, at the end of the day, he's not going to play another game this season. That's for sure. So at the end of the once that thing ends in June, we send it back. If
Yeah,
we
but
sign
Iggy,
him,
but
then my mindset will change a little bit.
You
Hang
know-
on a
Iggy,
minute,
know
what
it.
we're doing here.
I've been in a position, right? I've been in a position where I've had employees or my staff come to me and request budget for things, right? And I would do exactly what I just said in my example. I would say to Ange, hold on a minute, I've given you £200 million. You brought in Johnson, Kulusevski, or you signed Kulusevski permanently, right? Maddison, Solomon, etc., right? And I'll say to him, and now you want more money. You want to get rid of some, and now you want more money to overhaul the forward side again. No, I'll give you, instead of giving you another 200 million, I'll give you 50 or 60 or 70 million, and you've got to sell a few players. And that's where the problem will start, because no one wants our crap players.
Exactly. The simple thing will be, Maz, you got to sell, and then you can have that money or a proportion of that money, right? And I see all these things about, Tottenham are willing to listen to offers for nearly half the squad. Who's going to want half that squad?
Can I add to this that I think Ange Postecoglou, as much as he's a media darling and he says all the right things and people feel connection and a warmth with him, he's also created this situation as well, because there's two major things that he said that are kind of coming back to bite him now. One was where he said when people were saying we can win the league and all that stuff, if we go back to many months ago, he came out and said, let fans believe. They've got every right to believe. Let fans be fans. Let them think what they want. I want them to think what they want. And then they said, will you be judged on how you do this year? Ange, and Ange said, Ange's words, I remember, he said, the fans will judge how well we're doing. The fans' response will decide how well I'm doing. Well, the fans are pissed off, right? This is what you said. The fans are speaking. Now what? This is how you're being judged. And the other thing was this. When we went to Man United and we drew 2-2, when people say we played Man United off the park and our football was brilliant, and we had a very depleted squad that day. I think it was Højbjerg and Skipping holding mid, Chicken Royale, Davies playing. We went to Old Trafford and played good football. Ange, after the game, said this, because Ten Hag came out and said, I can't play the way I want to play at Man United. I don't have the players. Ange, in response, said this. The amount of times I hear managers saying, I'd like to play this way, but I don't have the players. Personally, I just think, just do it, mate. So he's basically saying to Ten Hag, don't make out you can't play quality football because you haven't got the players. Just do it. Now, in this run, what's he saying? I've got to change the squad. I've got to build a squad that can play our football. Well, hold on a minute. Just do it, mate. So I think what Ange has done.
In fairness, he's still doing it still, isn't he? He's still doing it his way.
But he's trying to be positive. No, you're right. He is still doing it his way. But trying to be positive, by trying to be uplifting, he's saying things that maybe can't be achieved, or you're being a bit unrealistic here. Just Maz said it. I said it. Maz has doubled down on it many times. We said, Ange, just stop talking. Just talk about the game. Tell us about your tactics. Tell us why you pick certain players. Tell us, what the plan looks like over many years. But stop saying these big statements like let the fans decide, or talking about other managers. I just feel he says certain things, like I want to challenge for the league next year. What kind of pressure have you just heaped on everyone by saying that? Do you understand? I don't think he means bad by what he's saying. I don't think he's trying to be a smart ass. I just think that in England, the media are savage, right? They will jump on everything. They'll keep the receipts. They'll keep the evidence. Social media fans keep all the receipts and the evidence. And then as soon as it goes wrong, they unleash like a wave of tweets and retweets and images and things that were said. It's like, whoa. Did I say that? I don't really say that. Shit, no. I did say that. So do you think Ange as well is, as much as he's a really top bloke, he's not savvy with the media? Do you think that's kind of not helped the situation, guys?
Yeah, well, there's an old saying, let people think you're stupid, then open your mouth and prove them right. I mean, Ange opening his mouth saying that we're going to be in the title challenge people are going to be laughing at it, aren't they? So it's like, it's one of them. Look, at the end of the day, everything's going to come back to Levy. If Levy backs Ange in the summer, and all this fake believe stuff actually that we see in the media is actually true, and he does get the players he requires, all the top teams play this expansive football, and we're going to go places. I'm holding out as much hope as I can, because I'm going to be going to most of the games next season. I want to go to games, enjoying games. I don't want to be driving back from Liverpool, getting back at midnight, having dropped everyone off, having been tonked 4-2 or being 4-0 down most weeks. I want to go there, and actually watch the team win, regardless of how we play. I want us to actually go out there and actually win games of football, because then I come home happy. I don't care.
Compete.
And
that's the problem. Half of the matches that we've seen lately, we're not competing.
No, we're competing at 4-0 down, which don't help.
But our fans want to be entertained.
The pressure's off when you go 4-0 down.
We're not entertaining.
My biggest problem with all of that, and I wish all of that, Ryan. I absolutely wish all of that, and I want that, right? My biggest problem is, if that summer doesn't happen, who's going to do what?
I'm burning the stadium down, probably.
No one's going to do nothing. We'll just carry on.
The stadium was supposed to take us to the next level. Clearly not.
We'll just absolutely carry on, buy the bollocks, and recycle it again.
Can I say, Paul, your comment here saying about time fans back to manager instead of being stroppy toddler. It's not the fans that need to back the manager; it's the owners. Like Iggy just said, when Arteta was struggling, they came out and said, or Maz said it. Sorry, the owners came out and said, Arteta's not going anywhere. Arteta's our man. We're going to financially back him. And then off the back of that announcement, Arteta then said, trust the process. Where's Daniel Levy? Where's Donna Cullen? Where's Paratici? Where's Scott Munn coming out, showing a sign of unity with their manager, a sign of intent? Where is that? So it's all good and well saying the fans are stroppy toddlers, but this ownership, where are they? So I think they need to be the ones backing this so the fans can then believe in it. But their silence is telling so far, which gives precedent to fans to say, well, hold on a minute. Don't like this. Not happy with this. I've seen this before.
Listen, Pochettino, before he left, he was left alone like a dog. Conte, Mourinho. Conte was left, when he went ill, came back, he was left alone like a dog, and in the end, he exploded. Look at this guy now. He's been left alone. This whole period of time, he's been left alone, and he still is alone. I think I said this in last Monday's. Where will a board show unity with the manager? And even when things are not going back, say, guys, we got the right man. We will continue to back him. He has our full support moving forwards. That's what I got to say. If nothing else, man, it just calms the fans a little bit to say, you know what, we might not necessarily see everything right now, but there's clearly unity inside the camp that we can't see in an everyday today process. But they can see it and they're happy with it, and it calms us down as well, because we see everything purely from the outside looking in.
Well, hopefully, and it'll just shut the media up as well, because what have we seen? Pretty much all this week so far. All I'm seeing is the players are not, they're not buying into it. They're not. He's losing the players, blah blah, and it's all over everywhere, and it's just driving you nuts. Someone's come out and shut up. We are behind him. We are doing this. It's exactly what the club should be doing,
Lee, man. It's a British thing, because I follow the football in Europe as well. I follow Serie A, and I keep an eye on the La Liga, and if you see it, man, they're always like the director of football deals with the media a lot, so it takes the pressure off the manager. The press conferences, you got the doctors that speak on the medical side of the players in press conferences. I see that the managers are, first of all, they're coaches, are not managers, and they get to speak about the first team, and the questions are about the games coming up, the players, and all of that. And then you've got the director of football that speak. Now, we've changed from a British point of view. We've changed a lot since Wenger came over. He changed the diets. He changed the way that people want, that the players needed to look after their bodies. And we've gone from, being footballers to athletes. We've changed so much. We've implemented so many good things from Europe. Why can't we now just do this final part where each department, the medical department, the physios, then all, and the guy that handles the media, and the director of football that represents the club in from that side of things, taking the heat off and then showing that unity when it matters. Why can't we start? I'm not saying at Spurs, but just generally with every club. I think that would be a great thing, but I just don't like every time like the managers are just left to their own devices, having to do with the whole thing.
Have to answer everything, don't they?
Yeah,
Absolutely
I don't like
everything.
it. I've never liked it. I'm not saying it now because of what's going on with Postecoglou, but
No,
I
you
said
said
this,
it with Conte before and
I've
everything.
always said it, and I just don't understand why we can't change our ways a little bit in regarding this. I just think the coach should be speaking about the games coming up and the teams and all football and the questions. I think from the media need to be a little bit better and ask a lot more in terms of what's going on within the team and about the game and all of that stuff, instead of always trying to dig out other stuff. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Right now, you know what's happened is, like I said, from a points that we've achieved this season and with the league standing that we've got, yeah, gutted not to be going into Champions League football. But then some people will say it's a blessing in disguise that we're not, and we're not good enough, and probably Europa is more suitable. One can argue that's absolutely true. But the problem is that we've gone. This season has been a really weird first season. We've gone for the beauty of the first 10 sort of 11 games to the injury crisis middle bit, which we actually dealt with a lot better. And then now we've got everyone back. We should be second half of the season normally.
Now we've got our Tottenham back.
No, but in the second half of the season, normally that's when it kicks in, because you say we got the first half of the season that we implement all these things. So in the second half of the season, we hit the ground running, because now it's like, okay, now we see the fruits of the first half of the season. But it's just not been that way, and we are ending the season pretty much the same way we did last, just under
Every
different
season.
management.
Yeah, and just for all the Arsenal fans as well, right? Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and you think we're getting a result at City? Sorry, boys, we're not helping you out, and that's not even me saying I don't want to help you out. It ain't happening. There's no way that we're getting a result at City. I'm sorry, not after that. I'm even worried about Burnley, to be quite honest with you, and Sheffield United.
We should beat Burnley and Sheffield. Let's see. I want to do a couple of super chats and we'll get into the game itself. Sorry I missed these earlier on. A user says, "Still love the show yesterday. Bring back Adrian." Big up for the super chat. Dietrich says, "Okay, Iggy, don't get triggered. Dietrich is doing his usual." Good afternoon, guys. Poor Iggy. AC Milan last game they won was a month ago. I told everyone about Ange's incapabilities as a tactician, and Sarr is crap. Dietrich's going in, and then Dietrich says Iggy is a waffle machine, always waffling about Ange. Dietrich's, man, you're obsessed. You have got an obsession with Iggy, I'll tell you.
Do you want me to respond to that idiot, or shall I just leave it?
Thanks for the super chat, Dietrich.
Just say, thanks for the super chat.
No, don't reply, because then he'll keep sending in super chats till you get a response. That's it.
Right, yeah, reply then. Reply if you keep sending in super chat.
No, don't reply.
No reply. Right, the starting 11 was Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Chicken Royale. Questions again why Dragusin doesn't get a gig. Again on the bench, £30 million. What for? That was the big question. Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr start, which meant no number 10 because Kulu went out right. Maddison and Lo Celso on the bench. Very odd not to have a 10. And like I said, Kulu out wide. Richarlison dropped, Son up front. Johnson on the left, not the right. So questions were asked about the starting 11. The way the game started, there was a bit of a warning sign early on. Liverpool hit the crossbar. Mohamed Salah, was it a cross? Was it a shot? And then there was a block off the line. Liverpool almost scoring in the first 10 minutes. And we can see here Pape Sarr in the middle. All he's got to do is pass to Van de Ven or feed the ball to Basuma in front of him. To Emerson Royal in front of him. Instead, what does he do? He tries to just run with the ball and he gets picked off by Elliott, who feeds in Salah. So questions asked about our midfielders, why they can't just do the simple thing, like make a simple pass. You can see the pass is available. He doesn't make it. and it ends up leading to a shot. These warning signs then led to this. Mohamed Salah scores on the 16th minute. And again, not a set piece, but a cross to the back stick. Salah runs in behind Emerson Royale. I feel a bit sorry for Emerson Royale, but not totally, because he's got a player in front of him and behind him. Why is he marking two players? But he should be aware of what's going on around him. He wasn't. Salah comes in, and we have to question Vicario. How are you getting beat near post? Personally, guys, I think Vicario was thinking that when the ball went over to Salah, Salah was going to head it across the goal. So Vicario's thinking to go this way, but then when he saw that Salah actually headed, he's then gone back the other way, and it's put him off balance. So I get why Vicario got beat. He misread what Salah was going to do. He over-anticipated what I think, what he thought Salah was going to do. But that's the quality of Salah. That's why he's a good player. He knows how to catch you off guard, right? So what do we make of this? A midfielder not being able to make a simple pass, which ended up costing us potentially the first goal, but luckily Romero saved us off the line. And this, Emerson getting caught back post, and Vicario letting it in.
So just
Pape
really,
Sarr, Emerson, and Vicario. They're the three players in question. Unless you spot anything else, feel free to add to it.
so really quickly, two things for me is I'd like to find out what the hell they do in training, because they don't do any training on set pieces. They obviously don't do any training in passing. Because the passing in the last few games has been atrocious, especially in midfield. We can't seem to pass the ball to each other.
We lose possession a lot in the middle, yeah.
We can't pass the ball. And obviously the forwards are really not connecting or scoring. So I'd like to understand what happens in like training.
JP, do you think there's too much chopping and changing of the front line in the midfield?
Well, he doesn't know what his midfield is, I don't believe. I understand rotation, but I still don't think he fully understands or he's happy with who his first choices are in midfield. Yes, no.
Or if any of them are.
Choice up front, but...
Or if any of them are JP, they might not, but none of them may not be what suits him. We just don't simply know.
The biggest thing for me from a defensive
it doesn't
point
help
of view
that
is communication.
continuity, does it? Sorry, Iggs.
No, I was just going to say the biggest issue that we've had from a defensive point of view, all season, set pieces included, is clarity, exactly what people are supposed to be doing, and where, and also the communication. In that instance there, that screenshot where it led to Salah's goal, it's clear that Emerson's got a guy in front and a guy behind, and he's squeezing. He's kind of staying in a half and half situation. It's just before you even get to that point, it should be calling your man out to come over. Like Romero's kind of standing in a no man's land when that cross was getting delivered. And listen, from Vicario's point of view, from that distance, he shouldn't be getting beaten. But just because I disagree with the comment about being a weak goalkeeper, yes, he's got much to improve from corners for sure, and I don't expect a goalkeeper to be complete. It's his first season in Serie A. They don't deal with as many crosses from set corners in the manner that we do here. It's different.
I think he's getting a lot of flack, Iggy, and he's still one of the best shot stoppers in the league from open play. But let's just make one thing clear: when it comes to set pieces, although he's getting called out all the time now, there is still 10 people in front of him that should be doing more for the ball to not even get near him. The one thing that I notice is that Van de Ven and Romero don't seem to, well, not as much Romero up in the offensive end, but there's not a lot of challenges when it comes to trying to get rid of the ball, heading the ball. That's what Richarlison's good at. That's what Kane was good at from a defensive standpoint. And yesterday, this done it for me yesterday. Watching one of the corners, and we were man marking. Who was on Van Dijk? Son.
Yeah,
one of the most prolific headers in Liverpool's defence in an offensive attack, and we put Son to mark him. What? That for me is just mind blowing. Just put one of the boys on him for crying out loud.
We don't have a man-to-man. Our forward picks up their centre back. It's been like that all
It makes
season
no
long.
sense. Liz.
But what for me, and the one, the screenshot in regards to Papa Sarr, I listen, that's just like an individual mistakes that are happening quite regularly from a lot of players that we would probably expect better from. And this is like, it's quite elementary stuff. And why we're making a mistake there, I don't know. But the biggest thing for me was why we played the three midfielders in the way we did. Why did we feel like we needed to add another?
Iggy, can I
defensive
just
centre
say,
mid?
can I just say on this with Pape Sarr, I don't blame the manager for that.
No, I don't understand the three.
And I just wanted to say,
that's just an individual stuff. You can't
that's on the player.
That's on the player. But I don't understand the three midfielders and why we decided for this game to play those three there. What was we hoping to achieve?
Yeah, no number 10 is. Yeah,
I just don't understand. Normally we've gone from Kulu, we've gone from Maddison, and now we've scrapped all of that. Lo Celso still doesn't get a game. I don't understand why we would drop playing with a 10. We've been playing with a 10 all season. Because I didn't see any of the three playing in the 10. So it's not like we put Bentancur there. We decided we're going to go with him as a number 10, for example. We didn't do that. So I don't understand what the objective was to play those three in midfield. That's the kind of questions I'd want the media to be asking Postecoglou at the end of the game. These are the kind of questions I want to know. I don't want to know all the other bollocks. I want to know why the manager's chosen, why he's selected those three midfielders, and what was. These will be my question. Postecoglou, you changed your midfield today. Yeah, okay, you've gone with these three guys. What was your thinking behind that selection? And secondly, what was the purpose of it? And what was you hoping to achieve? Did you manage to achieve?
And why was there no number 10? Why did you play that?
What was you hoping to achieve? Did you get what you wanted?
Did you get
by selecting those three? Those are the kind of questions I want to hear. I don't want to hear any other. That's tactical stuff, man.
Yeah, I agree, Guy. And I'd love to know why Dragusin is not getting a sniff. Why play Emerson in that left back position when we know that he's going to go up against someone like Salah?
He's not going to move Van der Ven, man. For me, it's become more and more clear.
I know, but why can't Dragusin play in that left back role? Right, because
I've only ever seen him play centre back, Maz, and I've seen him play right back for Genoa. I've never seen him play left back.
Fair enough, but I think he's more competent on the ball than Emerson. He's faster than him. He can head the ball. He's quicker than him. He's quick. Yeah, everything. Every characteristic is better, right?
Maz, can I back you up on this? Right.
Please
There's a good conversation to have. Mark this because I'm never doing this again. Right. I'm going to back Maz up. It's one thing us saying he's not going to move Van der Ven. It's another thing saying, but we've never played, Dragusin's never played left back. Therefore, it makes sense to put a wing back, right? When Oliver Skip comes on and plays ahead of you, a defender,
precisely,
this argument dies for me. Because when I saw that, I'm like,
exactly,
you've got a £30 million defender and you're putting a midfielder at left. That now is
precisely, literally. That was my next point.
But this is the thing; it contradicts him again. Still,
well, right?
This is the problem. It
contradicts him. All right.
These are my players. I say yes. I say yes to these players, and then doesn't bring him on. He doesn't bring a defender on in a defensive position. But these are my players. I want them. I've signed these players, and it's just like, well, why are you not playing him then?
I don't understand as well. And another point which, was he persuaded Lo Celso to stay, right? Then he brings him in. Then he gets injured. Then he brings him in for like cameo roles, and every time he comes in, he always looks like he's something about him. He's got quality about him. But why not? You've dropped Maddison. Why the hell not bring in Lo Celso? The guy starts for Argentina. He was brilliant when he was at Real Betis, right? I just don't understand it.
I have this conversation with Shine for the last 3 weeks.
Højbjerg is going to go, which by all means he's going to go, and he's still playing him, then why can't you play Lo Celso? And if it's an attitude problem, don't put him on the bench. Put in the kid on the bench. And relying in a prospect coming through, right? If we're going to get battered by Liverpool anyway, then bring on the kid.
Yeah,
Not that that's good for the kid, but we're Tottenham, so it don't matter.
I've got another quick super chat here from Rob Frank. Big up to you, who says, "For those backing Ange, what has he done that you're able to get behind? Is it just we can't sack another manager to save face? Blind faith? I'm
Spoke about
curious."
that early on.
That's what we said earlier. So
If I truly felt he was incompetent, I'd have no problem saying Ange out. But I have to see a little bit more for me to totally be swayed one way or another. And I wouldn't say Ange out just to save face regarding what I think of Levy. If I truly think he's an incompetent manager, and if that comes to suffice in next season, I feel that I will say this guy's an incompetent guy. Let's get someone
I
else in.
think
I'm not there yet. In
But
regards to
surely
that.
it's edging that way, right? In terms of
No, not for me. Not for me. I don't think he's incompetent. I just need to see a few more things to see, like, if this is the way we move forward and the way we want to play. I want to see a few things happen in regards to the team. I just feel like there's a lot of players there that just, for whatever the reason, whether they don't believe in this way of playing or whether they're butting heads about it, then he's got to get the players that will make the way he wants to play football a little bit successful. But also, I said it earlier on, if a manager truly believes in the way of playing and the way that Conte was the same, he's very stubborn. And so why should these managers change the way of playing because where they've gone has proved successful? Now we say, well, Conte at least has done it in Serie A, he's done it in England with Chelsea, Ange's done it in, they're always cussing me for doing it in Scotland and in Japan and wherever else. He's never done it in the big league. Well, maybe this season he has to do it as a learning curve because he's not been involved in the Premier League before. Next year, he'll be more equipped in that merit because he's already had experience, year one in it. So I have to give him year two. And if at the end of the year two, I feel now, you know what? If we're having the same problems at the end of year two, then I'll say, right, it's not good enough. But we have to
I think the only question I would have, Iggy, is even if we get a decent number 6, is that really going to save?
No, we need a 9, man. We need an animal, guys. We need an Osimhen, even a Lukaku, man. Will be. We need someone, an animal. You can't have a team. I know people are going to say Arsenal haven't got a number 9, but Arsenal have got many other things, not just a number 9.
Mean,
if they get Osimhen tomorrow. If Arsenal get Osimhen tomorrow, they're going to go up levels. Yes or no? They're going to go much more higher than what they are right now. But they've got everything else in place right now.
Tottenham needs a lot of players in a lot of
positions.
This
is what I'm saying.
It's a big change to stop conceding so many goals, isn't it? I don't see us getting a decent number 6 because he's still going to play the same way.
There's the issue. It doesn't matter what manager you get. If you don't start recognising the issues that you have within the team, who's going to succeed at this club? Who?
But that goes back to the super chat, right? In terms of at what point was he done so far?
JP's right. When you look at our number 6 when we attack, he's almost on the edge of the box of the opposition. The whole point of having a 6, for what we're arguing, is to have him sit in front of the defence so that when the counter attack comes on, the number 6 goes out to the flanks. But if the number 6 is high up the pitch, he's not going to do that. So you can buy a top number 6, but if he's tactically told to play in a high position,
you might as well
what's the point of having him?
You need another Van der Ven almost to replace Romero, so that you've got 2 speedy centre backs.
Basically,
or unless he invents himself the way Pep Guardiola did, where he plays John Stones in midfield. If we got a centre back who's the nuts, play him there and move one of the others. But then again, I'm in the thinking is, why would you buy a centre back to go and play him in midfield? Why would you buy a striker being playing in midfield? It doesn't make sense. Just go and buy the players that you need.
Oh, let's move on to the second goal very quickly. Colombo, thank you for the super chat. He says the club will never change in our lifetime.
Challenge, never challenge.
Oh, sorry, big pardon. Challenge. I think I don't know about lifetime. Maybe about under the ownership.
Respect to the test of Colombo, man.
Well, we have challenged. To be fair, we did it under Poch, right? So
I think
you're right. I think he means going forward.
Yeah,
he means from here onwards.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Ryan, let me come to you, my man. 2-0 just for half time. The second goal was coming. Trent beats the offside trap, puts the ball to the far post. Robertson plays a pass to the feet of Salah, who turns the ball on towards goal. Vicario makes the save, but parries it into the path of Robertson. And here we see this is the ball that was slipped out wide.
He's sleeping there, sleeping.
Emerson
That
Royale
is
is a good
different.
10 yards off his man. And Van der Ven, you can see next to Emerson Royale, he's covering the man. Again, look, we've said many shows.
To actually go back a little bit before that, what leads to that is another poor save from Vicario, who sort of just palms it back into danger, and Liverpool recycle possession, which then leads to that. If Vicario palms it out into a better area, that probably doesn't happen.
That was close range though from Salah, wasn't it not?
No, he's talking about before that.
Before that.
Yeah,
but Ryan, regardless, I see your point. But from here, we shouldn't be conceding.
No, we shouldn't. Royale's.
What was the conversation?
Where's Kulu going? Where's Kulu going?
What was the conversation regarding Emerson in the stands? I don't know where Kulu's going. I've got no idea.
Well, they're all going out, aren't they? But
no one wanted to see him play. Everyone wanted to see either an academy player or, as people said, moving Van.
Moving Moore. His names keeps coming up a lot.
Mikey Moore.
Yeah, he's a forward though. But no one really wanted to see Emerson. I think even after today, the only game they want to see Emerson play is against Man City, and that be his final game in a Spurs shirt. But it was poor. It was poor defensively yesterday. But quality Liverpool had. I mean, going forward, it's frightening. Their depth, and they were carving for us. I mean, there was the amount of times where I went and said it was a great ball. You know, oh my God, they've carved us open. It's like sometimes you can't defend no matter how you set up because Liverpool did play bloody well in that first half. Whether you think it was for our own mistakes or whether they've still got to put the ball in the right areas to deliver, and they did that.
Can I ask you guys a question, right? Forget being a coach, forget qualifications in football, right? Just the basic level entry point football fan who sits on a couch, got a mobile phone on Twitter and watches Sky Sports. The most basic entry level football fan, football level of knowledge. That type of fan said, if you start Ben Davies against Cole Palmer, we're going to get roasted. And that same fan said, if you start Emerson Royale against Salah, we're going to get roasted. Why is it that fan gets it, but we don't as a club? Why is it that entry level, bottom of the barrel football knowledge fan
we are, mate.
understands that?
It's who we are, mate.
But what we saw Emerson Royale get battered, yeah. You don't need a qualification to see that.
We're winning at life.
But they're the kind of things that you have to.
I mean, serious. I know it's a joke.
Already
serious.
Everyone's serious. I just don't think. Look. It's the end of the season. I think we all just can't wait for the season.
But Brian, this is the thing. Like,
you can't justify starting Emerson Royale against Salah though, because it's the end of the season.
What I'm trying to. I get to a point where I think to myself,
having a laugh, mate.
I look at players at Brian like Davis. I look at players like Emerson, and I think, what more can I learn from these guys, right? And I'm thinking, if I'm going to play Emerson at left back, what can I possibly get out of him? I can hope that I might get a level of
fucked up.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. What more can I get from him? So I'm thinking to myself, at this point, I've got two choices. How I see it, certainly, even after Chelsea and Liverpool, I'd say, right, if I didn't know him well enough then, I've learned a lot from him in the last two games. He's got battered in both games. So I think going into the next game, I think to myself, well, I've got a choice here. I'll stick with Emerson in the hope that I'll get a good tune out of him. I can find a way of bringing Dragusin in some way against, I think we got Burnley now.
Burnley, you can stick Oliver Skip at left back.
No. Or I could say, look, do you know what? For this game, I could probably say, I know, put Dragusin centre back, maybe put Van der Ven left back. That's an argument. Or maybe I can go and say, do you know what? I'll leave everything as it is, and I'm going to get the under 23s, under 21s. I'll go and get the left back that's playing there and put him there. And I don't think, as a Spurs fan, I swear to God, as a Spurs fan, I look at that and I think, if we get an under 21 left back and he puts him in there, do you know what? is a Tottenham boy captain. I wouldn't have any problem at this point of the season to see that. I know if I think that, I'm not saying every Spurs fan's going to think that, but I like to think at least 50% of the Spurs fans think, do you know what? Why not give a kid a crack? Give him the experience. Let's see how he fares out against Burnley, at home. It can't get any worse because I'm not going to get anything more by looking at Davis or Emerson playing left back. I'm not. So at this point, why not just play the kid there? We're not fighting for anything. They said the Champions League's gone. Europa's pretty much confirmed. Why not? Why not? So I would like to see something different than putting Emerson or Davis there if he's fit. I just don't want to see that anymore.
21's team, Iggy.
Yeah, no. But when you don't have a choice and your only choice that you have is to play Emerson there, surely fans will look at that and say, you know what, just play the kid there, man. We're not going to give you a hard time if you got your left backs are out and this is the only one you got. Play him, man. Play him.
Or how about play your £30 million defender that you bought?
I said Dragusin. Why not? I said Dragusin. Bring him back in.
He's not a wing back, man.
What I'm trying to say is, I know, play Dragusin centre back and move Ben left. Go with that which I wouldn't mind seeing. Or if you're really not convinced that playing Dragusin there, then go and play the left.
Skippy, I bet you Skippy play there.
Yeah, but the thing is, right? Let's say he did play Skippy there. Let's say the team sheet was Skippy.
He played well when he came
I
on.
saw Skippy play fullback in the under-21s, by the way. I don't know if I was with you still. We saw Skippy play left. I can't remember if it was left back or right, but he has played fullback before. So he's not completely like.
There you go.
He doesn't know how to play.
Why not play him? Because let's just be brutally
He was injured last game.
Emerson is a pretty average, below average player. I've never subscribed to him being a good defender.
He played well as a right centre back. I thought he did all right as a right centre back when we used to play
granted, he did well, all things considered, albeit we did lose.
That's the best I've seen him in that position.
Yeah. We still lost.
We still conceded like there.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
check this out. Right? The halftime stats. Liverpool 2 goals, Spurs 0. They had 14 shots. We had 1.
Boy.
They had 8 on target. We had none. Right, possession. We
get licks.
But we had more possession.
we won the possession cup for the 35 games in a row now. Crosses attempted 13-5. We had more passes, more passing accuracy, touches in the box. They had 31 in our box. We had 7 in theirs. Right, it gets better. Hold tight. Now the XG. Their XG.
Is this a joke?
Right,
that's not XG, even our line. That's just the bottom of the graph.
Yeah.
So basically, their XG was 2.5. Ours was in a cardiac arrest.
We had a good 3 minutes by the look of things.
Wow.
That XG is shocking. And then shot map comparison. You can see our one little dot just outside the box. You can see all their different shots. The stars are the goals. And then the halftime.
I've got a question for you, Stel, when you finish. I've got a serious question to ask you when you finish.
Yeah. So the match momentum, we had a 5-minute patch at the beginning and another 5-minute patch just around about 15 minutes. But for about 30 minutes, it was pure Liverpool dominance. We had no engagement whatsoever in this game. So overall, when you look at all the graphs and the charts and the halftime stats, anyone who makes a claim that we played all right in this game are deluded. They're absolutely deluded.
I'm glad.
Here's a question for you, Stel. I've got a question.
Yeah.
So in the post-match interview with Ange, he said, I thought we played more our football, more the way that I want us to play, right, compared to the Chelsea and Newcastle game. Yeah. So looking at what Ange, whatever half, right? so looking at what you've just shown me and looking at and listening to what Ange has said, Can you give me your analysis of those two? Is he deluded or is he lying to us? Or
I think he's only talking about the second half. Because if look, I'll bring it up now. If you look at the full-time stats,
so if Conte only talked about like halves of games, can you imagine Conte's interviews then? Because we only showed up in the first half or second half. Can't remember now.
But ask me that question when you off, Ryan.
See you later.
I'm literally about to die, so I'm going to
see you later, Ryan. No, man.
Vanish out of everywhere. I turned up for 20 minutes, which is similar to the Spurs team. So
fair enough.
There we go.
I wanted to ask Ryan is what perception, like, you know, the fans at Anfield, what, you know, he was obviously there, so I just wanted to know from him what it was like around, what kind of.
I asked him earlier. He said there's about 30 or 40 fans chanting Levy out for about half a minute, and there's other fans wanting Ange out, and there's other fans that are just frustrated. So it's a mixture.
And yet they make the 4.5-hour drive up there to watch him, knowing what we all know, and still they still went on a bank holiday weekend. Incredible.
Daniel Levy's lucky that we've got one of the most loyal fan bases. I'm telling you, he's very lucky.
Some call him loyal, others may call him something else.
Deluded. Maz, that includes us. We went to Newcastle, Wiggy, just to stay.
Listen, we knew.
I think you should play the video.
We're part of the problem.
We are. Yeah.
Maz, ask me that question.
Desperation.
Maz, ask me that question again when I show you the full-time stats and stuff.
Cool. Okay.
So, second half, 5 minutes in, Gakpo scores. Elliott nips in, wins the ball from, of course, Emerson Royale. Puts the ball back post, and Gakpo out jumps Christian Romero. You can see here Emerson loses possession. No pressure on the ball. And I think with Romero and Gakpo, it's just a mixed match. Gakpo's taller. And I think that's what happened at the end of the day. Romero did jump, but Gakpo's just taller and better in the air. If Van der Ven was there, maybe it'd be a different story. But again, a cross into the box, we just don't know how to deal with it. And then 10 minutes later, 4-0. Elliott with an absolute beauty of a curler, top bins. And at that point, the game was over. Yeah, we rallied.
At that point, the game was over.
It was over. I mean, look, Richarlison came on. He scored a goal. He also set up a pass for Son to score.
He took his goal quite well, though.
He took his chance well. He also
took his tapping great
to score another one.
Wasn't really a tapping, Lee.
There's another one that came over his shoulder. He took it on the right foot, but didn't want to shoot with the left, and he took another touch and he lost possession. Richarlison, I think, maybe could have got a couple. Son probably could have got a couple. There was a penalty shout as well, where there was a really high kick in the air on one of our players, and it went to VAR. I thought it was a penalty. I don't know about you guys. I thought that was a penalty. That wasn't given.
High foot for me. It's dangerous play. It's a penalty, but you know, whatever. Apparently, the post did the damage. I've never heard something so ridiculous. No, they didn't give it because the post did most of the damage. What? What are you on about, mate? Yeah, the post did most of the damage. It's fine. We won't give it.
What's that got to do with the high foot?
No idea.
Well, look, it ended 4-2. There was a lot of substitutions. A lot of fans say that, Spurs rallied and we were quite good. But Liverpool had made a lot of subs by then. They'd brought on Bacetic, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Gomez. We'd brought on Maddison, Lo Celso, Richarlison, Skip. Yeah, we rallied a bit, but it was too little too late. And to go to Maz's question, final stats at the end of the game were Liverpool had 25 shots. We had 11, a little bit more respectable. Expected goals, our XG went up. I mean, from 0, it can only go one direction. Touches in the opposition box, we had a lot more. Possession went up a little bit. Passes in the final third, we matched them. And when you look at the XG, it crept up, and it's probably why we got a couple of goals. In terms of the shooting comparison, we had a lot more shots, obviously. And when it comes to momentum, you can see there's a lot more red in the second half. So we did get back into it. But again, too little, too late. So Maz, when Ange said we played a bit more how I wanted to, I think what he was trying to say is, if you look at the second half against Chelsea, we continued to collapse. Whereas second half against Liverpool, we kind of rallied a bit. And funny enough, that's exactly what happened last year at Anfield. We were 3-0 down. Second half, we rallied again. So I think that's what he meant. But it was still crap. It was still crap. It wasn't good enough.
I mean, you could visibly see that Liverpool just laid off the gas once they went 4-0 up. They were like, "We've got this," and they're
first gear,
cruising.
First gear, and yeah, that's my thoughts.
But do you feel like he as a manager, right? You can be disappointed, and you can definitely feel the same things that probably us as fans were feeling in that game. But in the post-match, though he can say he's disappointed, he can say this, he can say all the things that he feel, he can't go to in, because if a team's, well, probably I'm sure there's a bit of confidence. He just lost 3 on a bounce and 4 on a bounce.
Four.
So you can't go and you have to say the things that you can't go in as a fan. That's what I'm trying to get at. You can't go in as a manager. You can't, because you got to manage that. 4 on a bounce.
Reality of it is though. Let's remember 1 win in 5 for Liverpool until we turned up there. So they were on a bit of a bad run as well, and then we turn up and they just, they turn up against us.
Did that with Newcastle. We did it with Chelsea.
I think you cannot go to Anfield and do this.
No,
you cannot go there for 45 minutes and do that and have stats like this. You simply cannot do that, because Anfield, regardless of their form, regardless of how they're playing, if you go to Anfield and do that, they're going to do something to you, and they did. And I think even at 2-0, I felt the game was done. If I'm honest with you, I thought we're not going to come back at 2-0.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see there's not. Like I said, I saw the game today, and I was like, you could see that we didn't have anything about. It's the same. There are certain grounds, like for us Spurs fans, like the Emirates, like Stamford Bridge, like Anfield, like United. Yeah, those are the 4 matches, 4 away grounds that you're like, man, I would just like to see a team that competes from the off, because like you said, like we go to those grounds and we deliver this sort of performances or stats even that we just see now. Like that is nowhere near good enough to even get you a draw, let alone a win. To get a win at those grounds, and we go there year after year not expecting anything at the moment, right? And we just continue to serve the same sort of performances when we go there, and I just don't know why. Is it because we don't have any kind of belief that we're going to win there? We don't go with any kind of plan. I don't see a plan to
it's
stifle
also
them.
different managers, different players, different
but
eras.
the approach is always the same, by the way. The approach to those games are always the same. One thing that we're definitely consistent with is the approaches that we go to those grounds, and that's under any manager. I don't understand it. You're going to go to hell for those 4 games. You know that. You know they're going to want to put you to the sword. Why would you at least try and stifle the first half? At least say, do you know what? Let's stay in the game. And the second half, try and, either go for it or just stay in the game long enough. It seems to me that when we go to these grounds, that the games are over within 20, 30 minutes. And like, wow, what was the plan for the first 20 sort of minutes? It's just, I don't know, man. Although I have to say, at the Emirates, this season was a lot better. This season, when we went to the Emirates, we actually performed that day.
The first 10 games was
but I'm saying when we went to when you go to the Emirates, you're like, man, what Spurs is going to turn up for it? I thought that was a good Spurs side that turned up. We even risked winning it. And so, and that's what I would like to see, man. I just like to see my team to go to these difficult grounds and actually say, you know what, we are here. We're very present, and we're here to fight. I just haven't. I don't remember the last time. Here he is.
Look at this fraud. Look at this fraud.
How you doing,
right, Danny?
Yeah, good. Man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Good.
Dan, I don't know how much you've watched, man. We're like, we just saw the stats and we just went really flat.
I've been watching.
Have you noticed that? As soon as Stell put those stats, we just all sat back and just like, fuck it hell. That's what I certainly thought.
That was the show killer. That was the show killer.
Yeah, actually, that.
It's like wrestling, like when people do like their finishing move, like people's elbow.
By the way, talking of wrestling, at the beginning of the show, we were saying like, what kind of name should we name the next title of the show, and it went to like kind of WWE mode, and someone said
Monday Night SmackDown,
Monday Night Raw, and I said, well,
Monday Night
after
Raw.
yesterday, we should call it a Monday Night SmackDown because we got some serious smacks. What was your thought, man, on what you saw? Not just yesterday, but well, we could talk about yesterday, obviously, but because that's fresh. But generally, for the last few weeks, what kind of where you at, man, with it all?
Me, to be honest with you, Iggy, like I didn't watch the Liverpool game. It was Dutch Independence Day yesterday, so for me it was more enjoying the weather, having some drinks, getting a bit drunk, enjoying the day, not thinking about Spurs. I predicted we'd be 4-0 down. I thought we'd lose the game 4-0. So I didn't even look at the score until after the game, maybe like 9 p.m. And then I was like, 4-2. Oh, so they got a few goals, but that was it. And when I actually watched the highlights, I was like, it's the same shit that we're seeing all the time. Crossing or set pieces. We just can't defend any of these type of actions, right? We're just terrible at it. And the thing is, against Chelsea, I was in a bar and I watched maybe 15-20 minutes of it, and I just on my phone right in the background, and I just turned it off. Like I thought even that 15-20 minutes that I watched, it was the worst derby I've ever seen between Chelsea and Spurs. Toothless from both teams. I just think Chelsea were the better out of the shitter teams, to be honest with you. I don't think Chelsea played particularly well from what I saw anyway. I just think we were just even worse. So
I said that, Danny. I said I don't even think Chelsea are playing that well. When I was watching it, I was thinking they just put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, exactly it. 2 set pieces again, right? I saw the set pieces, and I watched the highlight of one of the goals, but I saw one of them go in, and I was like, this is the same shit that we've seen all season, really, especially in the last like month and a half, 2 months. And for me, like the way I see it is, what's pissing me off the most, right? More than anything is the fact that Ange is saying that we don't have a problem with set pieces. For me, that is the biggest fucking problem. Because if he genuinely believes that, if he actually genuinely believes that,
I think
we've got a serious problem.
I think what he said, I don't think he doesn't see it as a problem.
It's not our biggest problem.
It's not the priority. It's not the priority.
Yeah, but the thing is, it is a priority because any team.
And this is what I said last Monday, Dan. I said,
the thing.
These are the things where I get angry with journalists and media. The question would be the same as if that isn't a priority, tell me what is. Because if there's something bigger that's more of a priority than set pieces right now, then I want to know what it is.
I think he's giving away the stupid fouls, Iggy.
And I said, like, for example, I said earlier, Dan, I don't know if you heard, I said, if you're going to play these 3 midfielders that you did yesterday, you didn't play with a number 10, I would have asked him, Ange, what was the thinking behind selecting these 3? What was you hoping to achieve? And did you achieve it? Those are the kind of questions I want to have answered, man. And the same thing goes with the set pieces. But we don't get these out because our media are so thick. They don't get. They don't ask those two people. They want drama. They want gossip. They don't want.
Of course they do.
To get to the root of football.
That's why they put. Like I said to people, everything that comes out in the media is all of those shit. The shit that goes on behind the scenes, most people don't know about, right? Some of us do, but people don't know what really goes on. And there's a. Hello, can you hear me still?
Still hear you, man.
I don't know what's happened there. Yeah,
we still hear you
on my browser. All right, but yeah, basically, I mean, like the thing is for me is that when I saw that press conference from Ange on Friday before the Liverpool game, for me, the way he was talking was as if he understood that he's made some fuck ups himself in a lot of stuff that he's done. In what he was saying, I interpreted that press conference is that he really look. There's two things you can say about all of this, right? The first thing is no manager comes out and says oh yeah, my players are really shit, right? They're not going to come out and say, yeah, Timo Werner's shit, this player's shit, because he has to utilize them, right? You're a shit manager if you come out and call your players shit mid of the season when you're trying to finish as high as possible. Yeah, you don't want to create animosity between the squad, even if there is something right now. You don't want to make it worse, right? You're stupid if you do that. So, but what has happened now, he's got to the point now where he's actually fed up, right? Because I believe Ange knows there's a lot of shit players in that squad. I said this from day one. The first moment he saw Richarlison, he knew Richarlison was not going to be a player for him. I said this from the fucking day one. That he saw Richarlison, he was like, this guy's fucking shit, right? He's absolutely shit. He cannot do anything a decent fucking striker could do, right? He can't play on the wings. He's shit on the wings. What else? And he's shit when he plays up front, right? And people think he's good because he has a little purple patch of scoring a few tap-ins. What? Fucking a 2-year-old could score tap-ins. Do you know what I mean? A fucking 2-year-old could score the tap-ins that he scored, right? The only good goals he scored was against Everton, against his old club. That was it. Other than that, what good goals has he scored? So for me, like there's a lot of players in that squad where obviously, as we know, we need to get rid of, right? We need about 10 players minimum of players that can walk into that first team that elevates the level of the squad. And I've said this as well from the moment Ange was brought into this club, right, and signed that 4-year contract. I've said that I know what Daniel Levy's about. Me and you, Iggy, we said this before. We know how this fucking story is going to finish, right? We all know how this fucking story is going to finish. But I'm still willing to give the benefit of the doubt to let that story roll out, because if I see it, the only thing is I'm just going to be proved right again about this club and how they run it, right? But for me, if Ange is given another 3 windows, right, 3 to 4 windows, I feel in 3 to 4 windows, in the way Tottenham do their business, because we all know how they're going to do it, right? They'll go and get maybe one good player who improves the squad, right? And then the rest will be youngsters or fucking free transfers or loans or whatever shit they're going to do in the summer, right? Lloyd Kelly's, all this crap, right? But I still feel in 4 windows time, if Ange is still here, right, I think then you can judge, because if he is agreeing to everything that they're bringing in and he's not doing what he should be doing, then for me, I don't care what happens to him and I don't care what happens to Spurs. In my honest opinion, I do not give a shit. I will watch from afar. My season ticket I'll keep, and I'll let friends who want to go, family who want to go, I'll come over less to watch the games from Holland, right? Because for me, it's never going to change until that board changes the way they do things, right? And we all know this. We can all fucking say it like we're fucking broken record. We say it 24/7, right? But the fact of the matter is, for me, if fans cannot see, right, that if Ange can't change anything with the perception of the way the club do their business, then I'm telling you now, you could put fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry in there, Mr. Blobby, anyone, doesn't matter who's in the fucking managerial seat, nothing's changing, right? And we all know probably the next manager is probably going to be fucking Ryan Mason, right? Because no one else is going to want to take that job. Because you wait and see what's going to happen, right? The way it's going to end with Ange is going to end in such a shitty way, because it's going to be like how Poch was, where he's not getting the players he wants. He's not believing in the project anymore. Players are going to start underperforming and down tools. It's going to get more toxic in the squad. The fan base is going to get more toxic again. And then what will happen is he'll bring in Ryan Mason, and you get all the fucking retard Spurs fans. He'll be like, "Oh my god, he's one of our own. Look, we've got Ryan Mason." Like that's how fucking pathetic this fan base is. Honestly, it's the worst fucking fan base on the planet. This Spurs fan base. They're all fucking delusional twats, and they need to fucking grow up and live in the reality that we're living in. That's the problem. They all fucking play FIFA and Football Manager, and they don't understand what the reality is. That's the problem.
But Danny,
can I ask you a question? One quick question.
So you're basically agreeing with Stell, fans are the problem.
I want to know that, Danny, how do you get away saying that and people like you when I say it, I'm public enemy number 1? What is it you said?
Do you know why, Stell?
It's because he's got hair.
Is it the hair? Is it because you got? Is it because I'm bald?
No one can say no to that hair, mate. That bun is like,
It's Dragusin.
Danny just repeated everything I said
Danny
with the word.
Dragusin.
All you did differently was say the word "fuck" about 1,000 times more than I did.
Yeah. True, but do you know what it is though? For me, it's because for me now, I don't give a shit what people think about me because until fans wake up and see what's going on, right?
You.
Do you know what? Stel? Honestly, Stel, for me, right? I'm losing interest in Spurs until I see evidence that they're going in the right direction, right?
Yeah, I'm there with you on that one, Dan. I am there with you.
I'm literally like in the last 4 games, right? You know, after the Nottingham Forest game, you know, there were people doing predictions on podcasts, whatever, saying, how many points do you think we're going to get? I said 0. And I was called negative everywhere, right? On Twitter, wherever I posted, whatever it was, right? Just an opinion. And I said, you wait and see. We're not getting no fucking points the way we're playing, right? Every single one of those teams is a far better team than us. And the way we're playing, we're going to get battered by those teams. And look what's happened. We've been battered by these teams. Even Chelsea, who are playing shit, they could have scored a few more goals in that night, in that game. And that's how bad they are as well.
It's really hard to see Spurs not competing at the moment, and that's what I've seen in the last 4 games. I saw a little bit of it, but maybe from a pride point of view against Arsenal, but that's kind of understandable. At least you've got to show some pride. But the rest of the games, I'm not seeing a team that's competing. That's like it doesn't matter about the ultimate, the eventual result, of the game. I'm just not seeing a team competing, and for me, I suffer too much when I don't see my team competing. It hurts to see my team not competing. Yeah. So it's less painful for me not to watch them. And this is why I said to you guys, I saw like Chelsea won. Like, I'll tell you what it was. Like, obviously, I've said this many a times now. That Newcastle won killed me, man. I know I enjoyed the day with the boys. I enjoyed the Newcastle. I enjoyed the city. I enjoyed the people. But that 95 minutes, man, for me, from a footballing point of view, seeing the fans telling our 4 players that come over to the away end and seeing our own fans telling them to piss off back to the changing room. First time I've ever seen our fans go to the players and say, "Fuck off back to the changing room. You don't need to come and wave at us like bye-bye and all of that." I'd never ever seen that, and that killed me so much, man. We had so much time to think about it, and then at Chelsea, I watched that game, Danny. It was like it was almost like I was disengaged from it. That's how I saw it, and I said, you know what, guys, Arsenal and then now Liverpool. I said, look, I'm not gonna ruin my day against Liverpool. I know the outcome now. I don't need to sit through that pain because it hurts me less not watching them, and that's this is not something that this is not to the demerit of Ange Postecoglou. This is just Tottenham generally for me at the moment.
Right, Iggy, can we go back? So, Danny, can we go back to when we played Nottingham Forest, Luton? There's another team, Crystal Palace. That period, right? And you called me up. You said, "Stel, my brother and I were going to Spurs v Luton. You coming?" And I said to you, and I said to JP, "I've sold my tickets. I'm not going no more." And you're like, "What? You're not going no more?" Back when we played Luton,
you've been every single game up to, and that's probably the difference.
No. I'm not saying for you not to go, but when I said to you back then, Iggy, I can't watch this no more because what you just said, like you feel disconnected and you're getting fed up. Iggy, I was there 2-3 months ago, and I said, "That's it."
I haven't been to the Lane since Brentford at home last game of the season. So when I went there and I'd gone from Brentford at home and Luton at home, that's how long I hadn't been there. And to sit there and sit amongst the fans, and I can hear, Dan, that what they're saying. You can hear what they're saying aside of you, can hear what they're saying behind you. And I just think to myself, mate, it took one mistake, one pass, and everyone lost. When that what's the guy the big hair scored after 3 minutes? Everyone lost it. We've gone singing like you go from all of that. Everyone's losing their mind over that trumpet. They're losing. Everyone's excited. Then you know what? I tell you when it all changes when we kick off. When the game kicks off, the atmosphere changes straight away. They scored after 3 minutes and we lost our shit.
Listen to me.
My brother was like, you know what? My brother first time at the new stadium. You know what he said to me? He goes, we went down after 3 or 4 minutes. He's like, He's looking around and thinking, what the fuck's wrong
Do you
with the fans, man? He was going to me. He was
Iggy,
going, there's another 87 minutes to play.
Iggy, it's a
"Calm
circus.
down."
Listen to me. It's a circus in there. It's like going to a circus. You've got the entertainment, the attractions before. Then the circus begins. Out comes the juggler. Ooh. Then comes
Has the
someone on a
music got
tightrope.
louder, or is it me?
Ooh. Then you've got a
Like,
clown.
you know-
Then you've got someone holding a snake walking around scaring people. Then you get a bit of excitement, like someone who's swallowing fire. It's all different emotions, right? And then at the end, you either really enjoyed it or you never want to go back again because you thought it was horrible. It's a circus in there. I'm telling you. I switched off because I said to myself, this is crap. I'm watching crap football. That Crystal Palace game killed me. We sat there, watched Crystal Palace, who was shit. It's before, it was Glasner's. By the way, Glasner's doing a great job at Palace, I have to say. It was his first game. Eze scored a wonder free kick. And it took until the 70th minute until we had a little rally. We won the game. I thought, this is crap. And the stadium's erupted. Yeah, we beat Palace. Yeah. And I'm thinking, guys, we're supposed to beat Palace. We've got a £1 billion stadium. Like, we're shit. And I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult. I still support them, the club, but it's a hard watch.
I'll give you an example. Stell, that Chelsea game, I was outright, and it was Sana was telling me, she was like, "Oh, the game's on. We should go back to go and watch it." And I said, "Nah, fuck that. I'm not watching this game." and literally, it was the best thing I did because we actually had a good night, actually, and not watching Spurs play that way that they were playing. Because just seeing that 15-20 minutes I saw, I was like, this is the most disgusting derby I've ever seen. Like, I've never seen a Tottenham-Chelsea derby with so little passion or fight between both teams. It was literally two shit teams playing against each other, and one team that can't defend. And and Nicholas Jackson again scores another goal from a set piece.
4 goals
off the bar
against Spurs.
I mean, what the fuck is going on with this club? Honestly, like the thing is, right, and the thing is, right. Do you know what I've seen in the last few weeks on. When I'm doing some work, I always like to listen to podcasts and stuff. I listen to you guys and listen to a few other channels. But some of the things I hear some of the fans say, I swear to God, fans smoke too much crap, man. They're either smoking too much weed, or they're too drunk, or they don't watch things properly. Because I'm telling you now, right, people sitting there saying, we should go in the Europa League because we've got a better chance of winning it. Are you fucking delusional? We're not winning nothing. We're not winning fucking nothing in this club, right? If you think we're going to go into the Europa League and win Europa League, then you are the most deluded person I've ever seen in your life, and you need your head checked. Honestly,
Danny,
that's how I see it.
Would you change your mind though? If this summer, let's say we spent 160, 70, whatever the budget is, I don't even know. After you sell some players, if we were to sign 4 really good players, I mean, a proper striker, 2 proper wide players, a proper number 6, the levels of Wanyama, the levels of I don't want to say Saka, but someone who is of a level we can say this is a proper player, a Rafinha, for example, and so on. Would that change your mind? Would you say actually we might be able to win that Europa Cup if we sign that kind of player? 3 or 4 players like that.
I still think we need 6, 7, 8 players to even win a trophy. If you want my honest opinion, this season to me has proved that even playing like we played less games than any of the rivals above us, right? Any of the people above us in the table, even Newcastle and Man United played more games than us this season, right? Yet we're playing at this level. We can't even get up for a fucking game, right? When we're playing 1 game every other week nearly, right? It is disgraceful. It is absolutely shambolic. And even Ange is even saying now, he's finally starting to admit that, we haven't really been playing our levels for months now. Oh, really? You fucking saying that now, you idiot? Like, honestly, it's like, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is, Iggy? Do you know what it is? What I'm seeing happening to Ange, right, is what I saw happen to a lot of the other managers who've come into this club and in recent years, and who have thought that what they've got in front of them, they could do something with these players, right? But what it is they slowly start to realize it's a bigger problem than just the players in the squad. It's a whole club mentality problem, right? And Andy's realizing that unless he can change what the board's ambition is, he's never going to change it. Just like I said, right? The best thing I've seen in the last 15 years at this club was Conte's last press conference. That, for me, was the best thing I've seen come out of Spurs in the last 15 years, because it was the first time someone actually called up the bullshit of this board, right, and said it how it is. And like he said, believe me, doesn't matter. You can change any manager you want. Nothing's going to change unless they change. And I'll tell you right now, I'll fucking put money, I'll bet anyone, right, that if Ange eventually look, what's going to happen is, right, we all know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is Ange is going to eventually...
I love Danny. He comes on, right? He's all like, hi, guys, you're right. Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, just celebrating Dutch Day, partying, drinking. And then...
talk about Tottenham.
I think he celebrated Dutch Day a bit too much.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Dan? I was going to say, do you think Ange... I know it's too early to say, but your initial thoughts on Ange, do you think this is the guy that... Or do you think, like, do you know what? With a bit of work and a bit of adjustment and getting a few players in.
Well, take that question, Iggy, into the same question that Sava's asked.
Right? Sava, what Sava says, absolutely in line with that.
So the problem is,
Sava, by the way.
As it is of most clubs, right? And it's the same with Spurs, right? The same with Spurs, the way they do their transfer business, right? As much as Ange is coming out and putting the onus on him about him saying, I know player comes into this club if I don't say yes, right? But if people understand how transfers actually work within a club, right? A lot of the times it's either that player they get offered or nothing, right? Or something could be even worse, right? So they're gonna, if a player's offered to them and they think, okay, I see something in him, I'm gonna sign him. I'll give an prime example, right? Richarlison, right? When Richarlison was offered, Richarlison was scouted by Tottenham many, many years before Conte, Jose, when Poch was there, right? In his Watford days, Tottenham were looking at Richarlison. They've been looking at him for years, right? When Conte came to the club and said, this is my 3 striker targets that I wanted, right? What do you think happened? All of those 3 players that he wanted were all way more money than what Richarlison cost. And because Levy said, well, we can give you Richarlison, it's either Richarlison or nothing, what's he going to say? No, I don't want nothing. He's going to say yes, because it's something is better than nothing, right? Timo Werner, right? Prime example, right? Prime example. At the time we brought Timo Werner in, right? We had injuries. We had players on international duty, right? We were fucked in that area, right? So the only option we had was Brian Hill. Now, if you want my honest opinion, I would much rather have Timo Werner than Brian Hill any day of the week. Any day. Brian Hill should even be playing in the English division in any of the tiers. He cannot do it. He should be playing at like under 12 level. That's what he should be playing at, right? Like I've got a 14-year-old, my friend's brother who's 14. He's twice the size of Brian Hill, and he's probably better than him at football as well. Like honestly, this is the problem we have at this club, and for me, this is why I'm giving it 3 windows, because if I don't, this is what I expect now from the next 3 windows. I expect a minimum of 2 players that go straight into the first 11 every single window, right? So what I mean by that is, I mean, this window, I want to see 2 players that instantly improve that first 11, instantly, right? Whether that's a right winger, a striker, number 6, whatever it is, right? Because we all know Spurs are not going to go and get 3 or 4 players that go straight into that first 11. Not a chance in hell. Not the way Daniel Levy does shit, right? You'll get maybe 1. If you're lucky, you'll get 2, right? If you're lucky. And then you're going to get a couple of youngsters. You might get a Lloyd Kelly, a free agent. He's not really going to improve the squad. Let's be honest, right? Then I'm going to wait till the next window. I want to see another 2 players that can walk straight into that squad, right? And if I don't see this over the next 3 windows, then that tells me everything about how this club is run, which is nothing's changed. And it tells me that eventually Ange will get the sack, because what's going to happen is it's not going to go the way that fans want it to go with Ange. As much as I want him to, I've always said, if Ange is given what he wants, right, exactly what he wants, I think he could do a really amazing things at Spurs. But I don't think he's going to get exactly what he wants. And the problem is, Brennan Johnson, right, as much as Brennan Johnson was never brought in for a first team player this season. That is 100% Like the 100%, I'm telling you that he was never brought in as a first team player this
Danny, sorry,
know that.
what makes you believe
everyone
that
knows that, but
Danny, what makes you believe that Ange can do amazing things at Spurs if he's back? Because I regardless if he's back, I question him tactically. His inability to adapt to situations and opponents who set up specifically to counter us.
What Ange has been saying, if people read between the lines, right? And if you look, for me as well, I agree that he's done a lot of stupid things this season in terms of not being able to.
You literally questioned him about set pieces about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, no, I do. Like, but I personally think that once he feels that he can trust more players, I think you'll see him change a little bit more. That's what I believe, right? I don't know if he's going to do it, but for me, it's like people keep saying, right?
Well, Danny, hold on a minute. Danny, I'm going to push back on you here. So why can't he do it now to stop us going 4-0 down at Newcastle, 2-0 down against Chelsea, 3-0 down against Arsenal? Why can't he adapt now to stop that?
Did Arteta adapt in his first few seasons? No.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't. He went through one of Arsenal's worst losing streaks.
Danny,
right?
Danny, sorry, Danny, I'm going to correct you. He went to Man City away in the semi-final of the FA Cup, low blocked it for 90 minutes, and Aubameyang scored 2 counter-attack goals. He adapted to get to that cup final. When does Ange ever do that?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
He did adapt.
I haven't seen it yet. No, yeah, he hasn't.
But your question was when did Arteta ever adapt? And I've just given you an example. Arteta did adapt.
But all right, for that one game he did because he wanted. Also,
okay, but we never do it. We never do.
Hold on. I know that
4-0 down, 3-0 down, 2-0 down, 4-0 down. He never adapts.
Also, hold on. You got to remember that's an anomaly because he was a coach at Man City, so he knows how they were training. He knew how they tactically. He was the assistant manager to Pep for years, right?
Our opponents know how we play, Danny. Our opponents know how we play.
I know that.
That's an excuse. That's an excuse,
right?
You're making an excuse here.
No. It's not an excuse. It's not. What I think. I think eventually Ange is going to get sacked because what's going to happen is the same shit. He's not going to get the high enough level of players that we need to improve. The fans are going to turn on him. Daniel Levy fires him. Ryan Mason comes in. That's what I think is going to happen, right? But I do if he does get
Ryan Mason comes in. I'm checking out completely.
So am I. But look, if he was to get in a hypothetical situation, the way I see it, right, is that in his mind, I think that he's really just going to keep going at this until he feels he's got a squad of 15 to 20 players where he can fully trust, right? Because right now, there's so many players in that squad he does not trust, right? No way he doesn't trust them. And I know that we can sit here and talk in a hypothetical situation that, yes, he should be adapted, right? But to be honest with you, I don't give a shit because let's be honest, all of us said this was a write-off season anyway, right? He's even said himself that this season was for him to just try and implement his style, right? This is his style, right? If he does get better players, I think he'll be able to play more similar to how the first 10 games were. But the problem we've got in the last since January, let's say, right, is that since the players have come back from international duty and injuries, there's just been something not right. They haven't been able to kind of get into that flow that they had, right? I know it's only a 10-game period. It's only a short period. You can't judge on that. But he was still able to get those players playing at that level.
But Danny, do you think hold on a minute. Do you think the flow has been disrupted because teams have now sussed us out and they've adapted? I've watched Arsenal
a little bit.
Since January, Arsenal have been on a fantastic run, okay? Twice this season, I saw Arsenal adapt massively. Once was at the Etihad when they were very, very defensive. I don't think Arteta went there to be defensive. I think as the game progressed and Man City were that good, they got pushed back. He said to them, right, just be compact because they're playing. He adapted in the moment. But when they came to Spurs, I think they specifically set up that way against us. He said, you know what, we don't need to play in fourth gear.
But you know what, Stel?
Let's just stay in second gear, but control the game. Because we know what they're going to do, and he got us, and he stung us, and I think that is where the second half of our season has somewhat filtered out, where our inability to adapt to our opponents adapting to us has stifled us, and I think that's what's caused
there
it.
has-
Danny. That's just
but there
my,
has
that's my
been
view. Why we
There has
struggled
been a
second half
couple
the
of
season.
games where we have adapted, right? People forget this because people forget this, right? What happened at Man City when we drew 3-3 with them in this season with Emerson Royale and Ben Davis as our centre backs, right?
Iggy,
What is
good
that
night.
not adapt?
Ciao, Iggy.
Good night,
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah, man.
Okay, bro.
See that? Is that not? Was that not adapting? Was that not adapting then?
Say that again because I was saying goodbye to
Because
you.
in that game we played Man City where we drew 3-3 with them in the Premier League this season.
yeah,
Right. Yeah. That game they were all over us. Right. We hit them on the break. Right. We adapted to their style in that game. Otherwise, they would have pummeled us that game. Right. But what I'm saying is that people are forgetting
I think their domination on the ball pushed us back, and I think that we got lucky.
You just said you're using that exact same example in a different game for Arsenal and what happened against them in that semi-final. It's the same situation.
Danny, I would argue that him adapting in a couple of games is not really good enough. There's been many more games. Yeah, many more games that. Let's take the most recent example, the Liverpool game, right, where we were just saying that we know that Emerson Royale versus Salah is going to get absolutely mauled. So why play him there? Why put the lamb out to slaughter in that respect?
Yeah,
why not?
I agree.
Why not change things up? So there's been many games.
Okay, so would you have done? So are we all in agreement that people would have said put Van der Ven then as a left back? Is that what we're saying?
I would have liked to see Dragusin, if I'm honest with you, even though he's probably never played there. I mean, he's willing to put Skip in that position
or an academy wing back, or an academy wing back.
Yeah, an academy
wing back. It's got to be better than Chicken
precisely. So the thing is, Danny, I don't think there's enough evidence.
Ben Davies versus Cole Palmer.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, same thing. I don't think there's enough evidence to suggest that Ange is gonna one that Ange knows how to identify really good players for the Premier League, right? And if you look at his signings this season, you could easily argue that over 60-70% of his signings haven't worked out.
But let's be honest, Maz, right?
Yeah.
60-70% of those signings are not all his signings, right? They are club signings. It's an agreement between everyone, right?
But he
like,
said,
everyone comes through the door. But the thing is, Conte approved Richarlison. Did he want Richarlison? I could tell you he did not want Richarlison.
No, but Conte also publicly said,
him.
Spence isn't my signing, it's a club signing. They want him. So he's also condemned some of the signings. Ange hasn't condemned anything.
But Danny,
Ange condemned nothing.
The players that Conte wanted to bring in, the club refused to bring in, right?
I agree with that, Danny. I agree.
Yeah, but Danny, Danny, the thing is, though, one of the things that I've been saying for a very, very long time now, and still try to steal my saying by claiming it as his own earlier today. Don't think I didn't notice. Still,
I'm Obi-Wan. You're Luke Skywalker. Remember that. I'm Obi-Wan.
I've been saying that Ange needs to shut the hell up. He's giving the fan base
100%.
too much information. He's not managing expectations properly.
100%.
And he said so many things now that he's contradicted himself and everything. So I'm unraveling, right?
This is
so he's made a really big point about signings. Everyone goes through everyone comes through the door. It's his player. He rings them up and he does all this stuff, right? So we have to take the assumption that everyone who's signed is his. Right, but we know what the club is like. But let's just make that assumption, right? We will never really know. On that basis, can you trust him with another 100-200 million? Let's say he signs Timo Werner as an example. Let's just say he says, "Yeah, I've seen enough. I'll have him."
If that happens, I'm Ange.
Then what?
I'm done, man. If he signs,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think the evidence is there to have faith that he's going to turn things around. Now, I want him to turn things around. I've come to the conclusion over the last couple of weeks when all of this fiasco is unraveling that we got to back this guy because it's going to be another manager, another rebuild, another reset of expectations. We know how this all plays out. So we've got no choice but to back him. And George last night gave a really good, eloquent point on how, you heard it, right? On how we need to keep our philosophy, continuing through the managers for us to really build that winning mentality.
Yeah.
So we sort of got no choice, bro. You know what I mean?
This is why I'm as much as there's a lot of things that make me feel if Ange is the right manager or not for Spurs, right? Because like I know that, for example, there's things in the background I've heard. There's other things as well, and also the stuff that we're seeing him in the press conferences contradicting himself, saying things like we want to challenge for the title next season. I mean, that is just the most dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like if he genuinely thinks that Spurs can challenge next summer, then either he's smoking some
he's not
really
the right man for the job.
fucking high grade, right? Probably some Amsterdam high grade, or he knows something that we don't know as a fan base, right? That they've got plans in place to bring in a certain level of player. For example, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just say if they go and bring in Eze, Rafinha, and like a really good number 9, right? Just say, and that is their plan, and that's what they're going to do. And if they action that plan, he feels that with that, what they're going to do, that it can elevate the level of the squad, right? Just say, for example, right? Then maybe we might start believing a bit more. But until like I said, I'm reserving my judgment. As much as there's a lot of things where it's kind of making me think 50-50 on him, I'm still reserving my judgment because, like you said, Maz, yeah, we haven't got a choice. Because I tell you right now, if Ange gets sacked, right, Mason is our manager. And I do not want fucking Ryan Mason at this club because he's even worse, right? He's even worse than fucking Ange. So for me,
Danny, I would go further than that. I'd say not just about talking about players. I think we really need a massive reshuffle in the backroom staff. Because the people that we've got doing, I know we all call out him for his, his defensive and all this kind of crap, but that's what you have defensive coaches for. And if they're not doing the job, what he doesn't want to do, and it's not up to scratch, then they need to go as well. That needs to be shuffled.
But do you know what? Lee? Right? I think I'm just reading between the lines, right? I think Ange realised that sacking that attacking set piece coach that we had at the beginning of the season, I think he feels that was a mistake because in the press conference on Friday, when the way he was speaking, he was alluding to not just players, he was also talking about staff that he needs to change, right? So I think
none of them came with him, did they?
Of his staff? But I'm talking about the staff that we had already in the club. Like, for example, the attacking set piece coach we had. We were one of the best teams on set pieces last season, attacking sense, right? We scored a lot of goals from set pieces, but we just couldn't. We weren't as bad defensively. But when you have Jedinak on defensive set pieces and Ryan Mason on attacking set pieces, you're asking for trouble, right? You're asking for shit. Why would you sack an attacking set piece coach who has proven really good, right? So that you could put Ryan Mason there to keep Daniel Levy's fucking dick hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Danny, wasn't he the set piece coach that Conte brought in and was linked?
It was, yeah, but it was Ange that got rid of him this season in the summer.
You know what? The only reason I'm prepared to back Ange until Christmas is one reason only. I think when you lose a player like Harry Kane, who's been so influential to everything Spurs has done the last 10 years, and there's no replacement that comes in, I think you don't deserve a pass, but it's definitely stifled our goal scoring ability and creation because Harry Kane was a quality number 10 and a quality number 9. Plus, what I want to do, 1 minute, Danny. Plus, what I want to do, I'll come back to you. This summer, I know what's going to happen, but I need to see it play out. I want to see whether or not this board changes its transfer approach, and I want to see how my manager reacts to that. Because when Mourinho and Poch and Conte, especially Conte, when the transfers didn't go the way they needed, you saw their reaction, especially Conte. So I need to see what Ange does. Because if Ange says, I'm happy with the transfer window, it's on me again, then bro, if we're not doing good by Christmas, you got to go. But if he says, well, I didn't quite want that player and this and that, then Okay, here we go again. So I just need to see it play out. I just need to see it play out.
Board, right? From everyone. Everyone's heat should be back on the board.
Yeah, that's why I said I need to see 3 to 4 windows for me to judge what Ange is capable of doing at this club. But that's also in tangent with what the club are prepared to do, right? Because I'll give an example, right? Eze, right? I can tell you now, if Ange says yes to Eze, we're signing Eze in the summer, right? They've been working on Eze for a while now, right? Like a lot of stuff that's going on in the background, what they're doing with Eze, his family, what they've told him about the project and what his position will be at Spurs, everything, right? Everyone at Spurs wants Eze. The only person at the moment, as far as I'm aware, is still not convinced is Ange. And that, for me, is worrying because we're like, everyone can see Eze's a class player, right? He's a very, very talented player. And I think he would improve us in a lot of ways. But if Ange was to go and say no to someone like Eze and go and sign Timo Werner, for me, that is fucking worrying. That is fucking worrying.
Well, Danny, well, this is why I need to see this play out, right? Because we can have these chats, we can have these conversations, but until we see what actually happens, like, because as it stands now, he's brought in dog shit like Brennan Johnson. He's signed crap like Veliz. He's signed dog shit like Timo Werner.
Johnson was also a player that the club had been tracking before, and there's a lot of reasons why it kind of fitted what Ange wanted. So listen, we'll work with him.
Fair enough.
I don't want Johnson. You know my feelings on Johnson. I think he's fucking bang average.
I think he's bang
Johnson's
average.
No, Ange said himself these exact words. I never expected Johnson to be in the first team or first 11 player, only because of injuries and stuff like that. Did he have to be brought in? He had no intention of playing him. It's simple as that. That's why I don't think it's an Ange signing. When someone says, I say yes to a player, it doesn't mean he's my player that I wanted.
Exactly
it's just I've got to say yes because there's no other option.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Someone with some common sense.
Right. Here's the thing, though. Johnson, Veliz, Solomon, what's his name? Werner. None of them for me excite me, get me off my seat, make me think that we're going to win games. And they all go missing in big games most of the time, right? Now, Solomon, okay, he's injured, but we know he's not all that. The thing is this. I have to see this play out for what, like I've explained, but you look at Arsenal, they signed Kai Havertz. We all laughed. We all cussed them. Even Arsenal fans cussed their club. We needed a number 9. What is this shit? Chelsea fans bullied them online. Kai Havertz has actually worked out for the way they want to play. Is he the level? No, he's not.
He's not just going for a purple patch like Solanke or you know.
Yeah.
Lee,
you know what I mean?
No, mate,
he fought a few good games and we're all praising him. It's exactly the same as what we did with Charlison.
Let me finish the point. Let me finish the point. Next season, if he repeats it, you could say, hold on, Arteta's spotted something and they've coached him to be a better player. This is why they spent the money. So right now, you're right, Lee, it could be a purple patch. But where's Johnson's purple patch? Where's Werner's purple patch? Where's Veliz's purple patch?
Well, they had a few tap-ins, didn't they?
But look, still, like I said.
So Danny, wait, Danny, let me finish my point. So this summer, I want to see us sign some top players.
Yeah.
If we sign the odd Johnson or the odd Kai Havertz, I need to see it play out, because what if it does actually slot in and fit in? Because when we signed Van de Ven and Vicario, I was cussing. I was wrong. So
listen, I would be happy with two.
This is why
I would be happy. I know we're talking about Eze, Elise, Rafinha, all this kind of stuff. I would just be happy with signing 2 exciting players that just took their man on. Just take on your man. That's the type of player I'm looking at. It's madness that we're having. And I'm with you. If Timo Werner gets signed, again, I don't believe that will be Ange saying yes. That is a club taking an opportunity to spend cheap money again. And it'll be over Ange's head. It'll be a case, no, we're having him anyway. Whether you want him or not, we're having him anyway because it's a cheap signing, blah, blah, blah. You can use him from the bench or whatever. That's the kind of thing. I don't believe for a second that he's in control of the whole thing in the background. That's not how Levy runs his club. End of story.
No. Lee, how it worked with as you probably already know, Lange was the one who brought Werner to the table, right? He was an opportunity, right? The option was Werner or nothing, right? At that time, we had a lot of issues in the squad, right, in that position. So for me, I would have said yes as well if I was Ange, because I didn't want to fucking use Brian Hill because he's even worse.
But Danny, it's not nothing. It's not. No, hold on, it's not nothing. You've got
That was the options that they gave him. It was either, yeah, I know you could say academy, I agree, but the problem is,
but how do you know how do you know there wasn't an agreement between the academy and the first team to say we need to build this academy for a year? You're not touching our academy kids. Let them stay where they are and play together. How do you know that wasn't a conversation?
I know that's not happened. I can tell you now.
No, yeah,
the coaches in the academy, they believe that there's players that should.
So then I agree with you. Then why can like for instance, Santiago could have slipped in there the way that he's playing, right? On the left.
There's a conflict in the academy right now. The coaches coaching the players day in, day out. They believe the players deserve a chance.
Yeah.
The academy director and Ange, they agree that they're not ready. The
But
problem
you know
here
why,
is,
though,
the
why?
problem is, and this is something I was taught from day one, and I've never seen any different. You never know if a player is ready or not until you actually give them that chance.
Yeah, of course.
You don't know.
But you know
what Liverpool do?
Like Liverpool,
United.
Like Arsenal,
I get it. But when your back's against the wall, you either have two choices. Yeah, we signed Timo Werner. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, personally, I would have liked to have seen Santiago given a run at left wing. That's what I would have liked to have seen. Because from what I've seen in under 21,
Santiago's good.
He looks like
a really good player. But I think he looks better than Timo Werner, in my opinion. But the problem is, right? There's always that conflict as well, again, between what the board have to want for the club and what Ange wants as well, right? So the expectation of what they want from him, it makes it more difficult for him to put trust in the youth if he feels that they're not ready. So you can then say, it was part, look, JP, that bullshit line that they say, oh yeah, we want to get a manager who plays youngsters. That is the most fucking bullshit.
Hey, look,
you got to live by your words.
Everything that comes out of cunt's mouth is fucking.
Is it there?
Sorry. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a load of shit.
Look, the Spurs chairman also wanted to put his faith in someone who understood how important the link between the academy and the first team was. So when we signed Ange.
Yeah, PR bullshit. That's all it is, right? Because we all
know. To be fair as well, you know, I don't want to just, because I'm being a little bit biased. When I spoke to Simon Davies, the academy director, he did say to me the real fruits of the work will be in 5 years' time, because the 18-year-olds that we've got up to 21, they're only getting 1 or 2 years of what they've changed at the academy. And the best learning years of any young player is when they're really, really young. So the current, I would say, under 8s to under 12s, that group, when they get to 16 upwards, that's when you're going to see some proper talent come through if they pull it off. That's really where the fruits will be. So, but that doesn't mean there isn't 1 or 2 under 21s that aren't
still
better than Emerson Royale.
Is that you, Adrian?
Yeah. There's definitely talent in that squad.
Don't fucking say Troy fucking Parrott.
I'll say it 83 times, mate. Or 103 if I'm a bit weary.
The problem is, there's Daniel Levy again is still too much involved in the expectation. If Daniel Levy said to Ange, right, I don't give a fuck where you finish, right, for the next 3 years, you go and integrate the youngsters and build the squad up, right, with actually using the youngsters. I guarantee you he would be using youngsters. But that's not the memo, unfortunately. We all know what Daniel Levy wants. We all know it. And that puts more pressure on Ange to try and deliver the expectations of what the board have set. And that's always going to be the problem at Spurs, right? Why do you think Pochettino, when he first came into Spurs, the only reason he used the youngsters was because, like the problem is, we had even worse players when he was there, right? He brought in Bentaleb, he brought in Ryan Mason, he brought in a few other youngsters, right? But after they got to a certain point, they were still shit. They were shit, and they had to get moved on because he needed to get the next level up because we were starting to get better. And Harry Kane started coming through. So that's always going to be the problem at Spurs. It's the expectation set from the board. Yeah, see, I would like to see Mikey Moore given a go. I would love to see some of the... Right now, I don't even give a shit where we finish. I don't give a fuck where we finish because I don't even want Europe. Like if I want European football, I'd rather have Conference League, because then for me, what I would like to see is the manager actually go and play some youngsters in that league, because that's how Harry Kane came through at Spurs. He started playing Europa League games. Well, this is the reason why I think a lower league competition, even Europa League, for example, give the youth a chance to perform in those competitions, because it's a highish level of competition, and it gives them the confidence to go out and play their football without no worries. It doesn't really matter where you end up. But the problem is, then by doing that, you're sacrificing the chance of winning it. Now, my personal opinion is it doesn't really matter, because if we use our first team, we're never winning it anyway, right? That's just how Spurs are.
We saw how we cooked this season, Danny, with playing one game a week.
It was exactly it.
If whatever happens next year, we've got suddenly 2 games, right?
Yeah.
Without embedding the
kids. So that's why I would rather see if we get into European football places, not Champions League, we're not getting that. If we get into Europa League or Conference League, I want to see some of the youngsters played next season. But I honestly don't believe they will be played.
I think that ship sailed, because they had the prime opportunity when we were, a wounded animal at the start of this season. Stella and I were saying, look, this is the prime time now to start introducing the youngsters, set out your 3 to 5 year plan.
Yeah.
Right. Levy came out and said that he wanted to bring in a manager to link the academy and to the first team, all that sort of stuff. And what happened?
Bullshit,
exactly. Yeah. Ange came in, and you don't see a youngster in sight, and even Skippy's disappeared. So
Well,
I think you're right, mate. I think what the board are asking him to do and what he wants to do might be at completely opposite ends of the spectrum.
And Maz, it's the same for every manager we've had with Daniel Levy, right? Eventually, we all know what's going to happen. They're going to come to a conflict where they're going to completely disagree, and he's going to sack him, because Ange's going to get stroppy. He's not going to like what he's doing. You're going to see it more and more in his reactions, his press conferences. You're going to see him more angry, more downbeat, and then what's going to happen is he's going to get sacked, right? Same shit that happens to every manager. So that, for me, that's why, like right now, how I feel about this current situation we're in, right? I don't care about it, right? I just want to see how it goes if Ange is still there within the next 3 to 4 windows, right? Yeah. If he is still there, then for me, I believe that he should have enough, right, to at least try and achieve something, or for him to feel that he can try and achieve something. Yeah. Maybe not achieve something, but at least for him to feel that he's comfortable with the squad he has, right?
Danny, if he's still there in 3-4 years, it's because he's made us competitive.
It's not 3-4 years, it's 2 years, isn't it? It's 2 years, right? 2-4 windows.
If he's still there, it's because he's made us competitive, because that's the only way this board are going to keep him. Because there's only so long they're going to accept the money drying up from not being competitive. There's only so long they'll accept that. We know what they're like.
It's just be the same vicious cycle that we're always in. And I tell you if you want my honest opinion, and I said this from day before Ange started, if Ange doesn't get a single trophy at Spurs, whether that's a fucking Conference League, a League Cup, in the next, if he's still here in the next few years, after him, I couldn't care less what happens to Spurs, honestly, because until Daniel Levy's gone, nothing's changing for me. That's how I see it.
Got a super chat from Sava, big up. Isn't it worrying that we went 4-0 down to Liverpool, and Ange talks about how we played closer to how we should be playing? The bloke is crap.
I think we spoke about that earlier, didn't we? Saying I'm sure he meant more towards the back end of the second half, right? But
yeah, the only issue is
when we started playing balls over the top, was completely not his style at all.
Not Ange's style.
That was actually doing something as well. We were actually making chances out of it. But anyway, gents, I've got a drop off, but I've got a question for you all.
Yeah, Lee, I'll ask your question, and then I'm going to end the show anyway because it's coming up to 3 hours. So go for it.
Okay. So my question is: given this weekend we got Burnley, and then we've got Man City on Tuesday, which is quite a short window. How do you see this panning out? Do you see him going all for it at Burnley to get the 3 points to secure, almost accepting that Man City's going to be a loss? Or does he save some players on Saturday, which potentially, could lose us the Burnley game, but he goes all out for City? What do you think?
I think he won't change absolutely nothing.
Let's go around.
Yeah.
All right, Maz, you go first. Go, Maz, you go first.
Yeah,
We'll go this way
really
around.
simple. He's not going to change a damn thing.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so
It's,
too.
it's hard to disagree with kind of the guys because he hasn't changed his rule of thought, his thumb, or anything like that so far. So he's literally going to be playing exactly the same team and go exactly the same way, and probably get done in exactly the same way.
Yeah.
If City got a match this Saturday as well.
I
The reason I'm asking this is because you look at the strength and depth of City.
Game, isn't it?
Yeah, they could, play on Saturday and then almost literally play still a really strong squad on Tuesday night and rest the people on Saturday. Well, we just don't have that luxury.
I think
we don't have that luxury.
Also,
if he doesn't play Skip, at left back, I'm going to get really annoyed.
I think is that where we've come to? I think tactically we set up exactly the same, but I don't think he'll play without a number 10 again. It will be Maddison or Lo Celso, and I don't see him starting Chicken Morale against Man City. I don't think he'll do that.
Can't.
I'm not sure.
He should to help us lose because we don't want.
Yeah,
we don't want to beat him. But I think he might try something different.
Yeah, it's what I don't understand is like obviously some of the decisions about not playing the youngsters. I think that's just criminal this season. I think it was a perfect season to do it, but what can you do when you got Daniel Levy as your chairman, right?
Basically, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I want to say thank you to everyone that come on the show tonight. Make sure you subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. Danny and Ryan Isaac both on the show from that channel tonight. I want to say thank you to William, A User, Dietrich Kane, Rob, Frank, Colombo, Sava, and to Carl Patrick Vineyard for being a member, and you guys for your super chats. Appreciate you joining us. I believe this week we've got a couple of shows lined up. North London is ours. I think Mari will be doing that show at some point. And then we'll be back on Friday for our preview show, and then weekend, the late night show after the match. So check it all out. Make sure you check out everything on Tottenham on Tour, Anger Management every morning with Brian Daigle or Ben Kaufman. Otherwise, if anyone else got anything to say, we can just say goodnight.
Bring on the weekend.
There you go. Leave you out. Peace.
Leave you out.
Now. The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.